After 5 years, the millionaire takes a stranger to his ex's wedding. What happened left. The crowd stunned. Hello, viewer. Thanks for joining us. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, along with the city you're watching from. Now let's continue with the story. Aurora Allen wakes to the sharp prod of a security guard's flashlight against her shoulder. The September dawn stretches grey and cold across Central Park, and she blinks against the harsh beam, disoriented for 3 seconds. On a bench. Again. "Ma'am, you can't sleep here," the guard says, his tone gentle but definite. "Park rules." She sits up, her back screaming in protest. 3 months of sleeping rough have left her body a map of aches she can't afford to address. "I'm going," she says, gathering her worn leather messenger bag. The guard waits. Aurora stands, smooths her donated jeans that bag at the waist, and walks toward the exit with as much dignity as she can summon, which, despite everything, is considerable. She stops at a public restroom, washes her face with harsh pink soap, tries to make her auburn hair look intentional. Her reflection shows intelligent green eyes too tired, skin too pale, a jaw set with determination. The law degree in her bag mocks her. Columbia Law School, 4 years at Morrison and Bates, all worthless because she refused to falsify documents for Victoria Sterling. 6 months ago, Victoria ordered her to alter real estate contract dates. Fraud dressed as administrative corrections. Aurora refused, threatened to report it. Victoria had her fired, blacklisted, and buried under countersuits that drained her savings. Now here she is. Public bathroom, park benches. Her life dissolved because she chose truth. Aurora's stomach growls. She has $11, enough for coffee and maybe a bagel. She thinks about Dylan, her 23-year-old brother, non-verbal, and living in a care facility she can't afford. The administrator called last week. Without payment, they'd transfer him to a state facility. Aurora can't let that happen. She just doesn't know how to stop it. Jameson Baker stands at his penthouse windows, 43 stories up, holding Victoria Sterling's wedding invitation, cream cardstock, elegant calligraphy, subtle embossing, screaming old money, everything designed to impress. To remind him she called him worthless 5 years ago at a charity gala. No, not what he lost, what she threw away. He's worth $47 million now. 200 employees, penthouse, tailored suits, respect across 3 continents. And yet this invitation makes him feel like that broke entrepreneur again, standing in a rented tux, watching his girlfriend humiliate him because his bank account had zeros missing. "You're staring at that thing like it insulted your mother," Marcus Chen says from the doorway. Jameson's business partner crosses the office, coffee in hand, eyebrows raised. "She sent it to gloat," Jameson says, his voice flat. "Victoria doesn't do anything without calculation." "So don't go," Marcus suggests, settling into one of the leather chairs. "You've built an empire since she dumped you. You don't need her validation." But that's exactly it, Jameson thinks. He does need it. Needs Victoria to see what she threw away. Needs her to understand that the struggling entrepreneur she dismissed is now worth more than her new husband's trust fund. Needs her to regret it. "I'm going," he says. "Alone." The question hangs in the air. Jameson turns from the window, looks at Marcus, sees the concern in his friend's eyes. "No," he decides suddenly, "not alone. I need someone who'll make a statement. A date," Marcus says carefully. "A date who'll show Victoria I've moved far beyond her world." Jameson corrects. "Someone unexpected, someone who proves I don't need her social circle anymore." Marcus frowns. "This sounds like a terrible idea." "It's a perfect idea," Jameson says, already planning. "I just need to find the right person. The encounter happens by accident, which will later seem impossible given how it changes everything." Jameson leaves his office at 11:30, exhausted from a Tokyo investor call. His driver waits, but Jameson waves him off, decides to walk the 10 blocks home. The September air is cool, streets empty, and he needs to clear his head. He takes a route through the south edge of Central Park, a shortcut he rarely uses, and sees her. The woman on the bench sits with her bag clutched against her chest, her eyes closed, her breathing shallow. Even in sleep, she looks alert, ready to wake at any sound. Her clothes are worn but clean, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, her face beautiful, Jameson realizes with surprise. Beautiful in a way that has nothing to do with makeup or styling and everything to do with bone structure and strength. He should walk past. Whatever her story is, it's not his problem. But something makes him stop. Maybe it's the way she's sleeping upright, like lying down would be surrender. Maybe it's the leather bag she's protecting so fiercely, like it holds something precious. Maybe it's the contradiction of the refined way she holds herself, even while sleeping rough. Whatever it is, Jameson finds himself speaking, "Excuse me." She jerks awake instantly, eyes flying open, body tensing. For a moment, she looks terrified. Then her expression shutters, becomes neutral with practiced control. Jameson feels an unexpected stab of guilt. He's frightened her. This woman who's already vulnerable, already fighting just to survive, and he's approached her in the dark. "I'm moving," she says, standing. "I know I can't sleep here." "I'm not a cop," Jameson says, oddly bothered by her assumption. "Then what do you want?" Her voice is educated, cultured, with an edge of wariness that comes from too many bad interactions. She's already gathering her things, preparing to leave. Jameson pulls out his wallet, extracts a $100 bill. "Here." She stares at the money, then at him, her green eyes narrowing. "No." The refusal surprises him. "It's just money." "Nothing is just anything," she says. "What do you want in exchange?" "Nothing. I'm offering help." "Nobody offers help for free," she says, but he can see the hunger in her eyes, the exhaustion, the temptation, especially not men in $3,000 suits approaching women alone in parks at night. Jameson blinks. She pegged his suit's cost exactly. That's not a skill you develop on the streets. "Who are you, Nee?" he asks. "Nobody," she says. But papers slip from her bag as she shifts it, and Jameson sees it before she can hide it. A law degree certificate. "Columbia Law School, Aurora Allen. You're a lawyer," he says. Aurora shoves the certificate back in her bag, her jaw tight. "I was a lawyer. Now I'm someone who needs to get moving before park security finds me again." She starts to walk away. "Wait," Jameson says, and an idea forms, sudden and perfect. "I have a proposition for you." She turns back, eyebrows raised. Propositions like this always have a hidden cost. "What is it?" "It's a business arrangement," he says, meeting her wary gaze, purely professional. "I'm listening," she says, but she doesn't come closer. Jameson takes a breath. This is insane. Marcus was right, but he's already committed. "I need a date for a wedding. One night. You'd need to clean up, put on a nice dress, play the role of my girlfriend. In exchange, I'll pay you $20,000. Aurora's face goes very still. $20,000 to be your date for one night? Yes. What's the catch? No catch. The wedding is in 2 weeks. I need someone who can hold a conversation with wealthy people, who won't embarrass me, who'll make my ex-girlfriend realize she made a mistake. Something flickers across Aurora's face at the mention of his ex-girlfriend, but it's gone before Jameson can read it. "So this is revenge," she says, her tone slow and deliberate. "This is making a point," he corrects, "by using me as a prop, by paying you very well to attend an event." He counters, "You get $20,000, a hotel room for a week, new clothes, a full makeover, meals, everything covered. All you have to do is show up and be yourself." Aurora studies him for a long moment. He can see her brilliant mind working, analyzing angles, calculating risks. "What's your name?" she asks. "Jameson Baker." "And your ex-girlfriend?" "Victoria Sterling." Jameson sees it, the way Aurora's breath catches, the way her eyes widen for a fraction of a second before she controls her expression, the way her hand tightens on her bag. She knows that name. "Do you know her?" he asks sharply. "I know of her," Aurora says, measured. "She's a lawyer at Morrison and Bates. Very successful, very connected." "You worked there," Jameson guesses. Aurora's silence is answer enough. The pieces fall into place. Aurora is a lawyer who somehow ended up homeless. Victoria works at Morrison and Bates. There's a story here, one Aurora isn't telling. "Did she do something to you?" Jameson asks. "That's not relevant to your business proposition," Aurora says, but her voice has changed, become harder. "You want me to be your date to Victoria Sterling's wedding, to make her jealous or regretful or whatever emotion you're hoping to provoke. Fine, I'll do it." "Just like that? $20,000 is life-changing money for me right now," she says without apology. "But I have conditions." "I'm listening." "The money is paid half up front, half after the wedding. I want the hotel room starting tomorrow. And I want everything in writing." Jameson almost smiles. Even desperate, she's negotiating like a lawyer. "Agreed. Anything else?" "Yes," Aurora says, stepping closer. "I need to know who else will be at this wedding." "The guest list, the seating arrangements, everything. Why? Because if I'm going to play a role convincingly, I need to know the audience," she says, smooth and practiced. It makes sense, but Jameson has the feeling there's more to it. "Fine, I'll have my assistant send you everything. Now, can we please get out of this park and discuss the details somewhere warm?" Aurora looks at him for a long moment, then she nods. The diner is cheap, bright, and empty at midnight, except for tired waitresses and late-night truckers. Jameson feels conspicuous in his designer suit among the tired waitresses and late-night truckers. Aurora slides into the booth across from him, orders coffee and a full breakfast platter without apology. "When did you last eat?" he asks. "Yesterday morning," she says. "I had a granola bar." When the food arrives, she forces herself to eat with measured bites, with dignity, but Jameson can see the hunger in every careful motion. "Tell me about the wedding," she says between bites of pancakes. "When is it? Where? What's the dress code?" 2 weeks from Saturday, the Hartwell estate in the Hamptons, black tie, about 300 guests. Aurora's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. "The Hartwell estate, as in the Hartwell family? Victoria is marrying Benjamin Hartwell IV, Jameson says, unable to keep the bitterness from his voice. "Old money, multiple generations of wealth, everything I'm not. Everything you weren't," Aurora corrects, gesturing at his suit. "You're clearly doing well now." "Well enough," he says. "Baker Technologies, cybersecurity software. We went public 2 years ago." "Impressive," she says, and sounds like she means it. "So why do you care what Victoria Sterling thinks?" The question is direct, almost aggressive. Jameson appreciates it. "5 years ago, I had nothing," he says. "I was trying to start a company, working 80-hour weeks, living on ramen and ambition. Victoria was dating me, or so I thought. When my first startup failed, she broke up with me, publicly, at a charity gala, and called me unambitious and not worth her time. In front of other people?" Aurora asks, her voice sharp with anger. "In front of everyone who mattered in New York tech and business circles," Jameson confirms. "She married a wealthy investment banker 3 months later. That marriage lasted 1 year, but the damage was done. I spent the next 5 years rebuilding everything, proving her wrong. And now you want to show up at her wedding with me on your arm," Aurora says slowly. "To prove what exactly?" "That I won. That I moved beyond her world. that I found someone more interesting than anyone in her circle." "Interesting," Aurora repeats, something bitter in her voice. "That's one word for homeless." "Some people are worth more than they appear," Jameson says. "You have a law degree from Columbia. You speak with education and intelligence." "That's not nothing." Aurora looks at him, really looks at him, and Jameson feels uncomfortably seen. "It's not much when you're sleeping on benches," she says quietly. "But fine. I'll be your revenge date. I'll play the part of the brilliant girlfriend who proves you've moved on. But I have one more condition." "What?" "After the wedding, we never see each other again. This is a business transaction. Nothing more. I take your money, you get your moment, we both move on with our lives." Jameson should be relieved by her clarity. Instead, he feels an odd disappointment. "Agreed," he says. Aurora extends her hand across the table. "Then we have a deal." Her handshake is firm, professional, the grip of someone who once negotiated contracts and defended clients. But her skin is warm against his, her pulse visible at her wrist, and Jameson finds himself noticing details he shouldn't. The elegant length of her fingers, the determined set of her jaw, the way her green eyes hold his without flinching. He releases her hand, but the sensation lingers. "I'll have my lawyer draw up the contract tomorrow," he says, his voice rougher than intended. "In the meantime, I'm putting you in a hotel, the Gramercy Park, suite for a week, all expenses covered." "That's not necessary." "It's part of the deal," he interrupts. "You need to be rested and presentable." That doesn't happen, sleeping on park benches. Aurora's eyes fill with tears. She blinks away in an instant. "Thank you." The gratitude in her voice makes Jameson uncomfortable. He waves for the check. 2 hours later, Aurora stands in the marble bathroom of the Gramercy Park Hotel suite, hot water steaming from the shower, and finally lets herself cry. She cries for the relief of safety, for the soft bed waiting beyond the bathroom door, for the impossibility of what she's agreed to do, for the knowledge that in 2 weeks she's going to destroy Victoria Sterling's life the same way Victoria destroyed hers. When Jameson mentioned Victoria's name in the park, Aurora's heart had stopped. She'd been carrying the sealed adoption records for 3 months, torn between her duty to prevent an illegal marriage and her fear of the consequences. Now Jameson Baker was handing her the perfect opportunity. He doesn't know Aurora is a complete stranger to Victoria. The senior partner barely noticed junior associates, never paid attention to the woman whose life she casually ruined when Aurora refused to falsify documents. Victoria won't recognize her. Not immediately, not until it's too late. Aurora pulls the waterproof folder from her bag, checks the documents inside. Birth certificates, adoption records, court documents proving that Victoria Sterling and Benjamin Hartwell IV share a biological father. They're half-siblings, and in 2 weeks, Aurora is going to stand up at their wedding and tell the world. She closes her eyes, lets the hot water wash away months of dirt and fear and exhaustion. "I'm sorry, Benjamin," she whispers to the empty bathroom, "but I can't let this happen. Some truths are too important to stay buried. Even when revealing them will cost everything." Jameson stands in his penthouse, looking out at the city lights, a glass of scotch in his hand. Marcus lounges on the leather sofa, shaking his head. "You just hired a homeless woman you know nothing about to be your date to your ex's wedding," Marcus says. "This is your worst idea ever." "Or my best," Jameson counters. "What do you really know about her?" "Enough." But even as he says it, Jameson realizes it's not true. He knows Aurora Allen has a law degree. He knows she's desperate enough to accept his offer. He knows she somehow ended up on the streets, despite obvious intelligence and education. And he knows she reacted to Victoria Sterling's name with recognition and something darker. She knows Victoria, he says slowly. Marcus sits up. What? I saw it. When I said Victoria's name, Aurora knew exactly who I was talking about. She worked at Morrison and Bates. Something happened there, and you didn't think to ask what? I didn't care, Jameson admits. I needed someone for the wedding. She needed money. It's a clean transaction. Nothing about this is clean, Marcus says. You're playing with fire. Then I'll burn, Jameson says, draining his scotch, but at least I'll be warm. Marcus leaves, still shaking his head, and Jameson returns to the window. 2 weeks. That's all this is. A simple arrangement. A transaction, nothing more. So why can't he stop thinking about the way Aurora held herself with dignity, even while accepting his offer? The intelligence in her eyes, the strength it must take to survive what she's surviving. He pushes the thoughts away. This is about Victoria, about revenge, about finally proving that 5 years ago, she made the biggest mistake of her life. Aurora Allen is just a means to that end. Jameson looks at his reflection in the darkened window and almost believes it. Aurora wakes to sunlight streaming through windows. For 3 seconds, she thinks she's dreaming. Soft bed, clean sheets, warmth. She remembers Jameson Baker, the deal, wedding in 13 days. Her phone buzzes, unknown number, car at 10 a.m., hair and shopping. Contract this afternoon. JB, no pleasantries, just instructions. Aurora is grateful for the clarity. This is business. She showers for the 3rd time in 12 hours, unable to resist endless hot water. Orders room service without checking prices. At exactly 10, the car arrives. The salon is crystal chandeliers and marble floors. Stylists in black who look like models. Aurora Allen. A woman with a sleek silver bob approaches. I'm Natasha. Mr. Baker arranged everything. 4 hours. Aurora follows to a private room. Colorist, stylist, makeup artist. They work with professional efficiency, discussing her features like she's sculpture they're refining. Aurora expects to feel objectified. Instead, she feels seen. Your hair is beautiful, the colorist says, running fingers through Aurora's auburn strands. Natural curl, gorgeous color, will enhance what's already here. The transformation is gradual. Foils, scalp massage, careful trimming, a blow-dry that makes her hair shine like copper. When they turn her toward the mirror, Aurora doesn't recognize herself. Oh, she whispers. You're stunning, Natasha says simply. You always were. We just reminded you. Aurora's eyes fill with tears. She blinks away fast. She won't cry. Won't let them see how much this simple kindness costs her, but Natasha sees anyway. Squeezes Aurora's shoulder without comment. Jameson is waiting outside the salon in his Tesla, scrolling through his phone. He glances up when Aurora emerges, does a double take and puts his phone down completely. She slides into the passenger seat, suddenly self-conscious. It's too much, she says. The color, the cut. I look beautiful, he interrupts. You look beautiful. The word hangs between them. Aurora's cheeks flush. Thank you, she manages. Jameson clears his throat, starts the car. Shopping next. You'll need several outfits. The rehearsal dinner is tomorrow night. Then the wedding on Saturday. Several outfits? Aurora asks. I thought this was one event. Pre-wedding activities? Cocktail party? Friday? Rehearsal dinner? The wedding? You need appropriate clothing for each. Aurora does the math. $5,000 in clothes she'll wear once. This is excessive, she says. This is necessary, he counters. Victoria's world judges on appearances. We need you looking like you belong. The bluntness stings. Aurora turns to look out the window. I didn't mean it like that, Jameson says after a moment. Yes, you did, she replies. And you're right. I don't belong in that world. I'm a prop in your revenge play. Let's not pretend otherwise. Silence fills the car. Aurora watches the city slide past, hating the tightness in her throat. You're not a prop, Jameson says finally. You're paid help, she finishes. It's fine. I accepted the terms. Jameson pulls over in a sudden motion, puts the car in park, turns to face her. You want honesty? He asks. Fine. Yes, I hired you because I need someone at Victoria's wedding. Yes, this is about making her regret her choices, but you're not just a body in a dress. If I just wanted a body in a dress, there were simpler options. I chose you for your intelligence and dignity. I chose you because when I saw you on that bench, you had more dignity than Victoria has ever had with all her money and status. Some people are worth more than they appear. I meant that. Aurora meets his gaze, searching for lies, finds only raw honesty that surprises them both. Okay, she says quietly. Okay, let's go shopping. Jameson pulls back into traffic, but something has shifted between them, something neither wants to examine too closely. The boutique has no sign, just a brass plate with an address. Inside, a woman named Colette takes one look at Aurora and claps. Oh, what lovely bones, she says in French-accented English. Mr. Baker, you've outdone yourself. She needs cocktail attire, evening wear, and a formal wedding dress, Jameson says, as a guest. But we want her to outshine the bride, no? Colette winks. Jameson's smile is sharp. Exactly. Aurora tries on dress after dress. Silk, satin, fabrics she can't name. Aurora expects Jameson to wait outside or check his phone. Instead, he sits in a plush armchair, watching, offering opinions. The blue washes you out, he says of one dress. That neckline is perfect, he says of another. No, he says flatly to a pink confection. She's not trying to look sweet, she's trying to look formidable. Aurora emerges from the dressing room in an emerald green dress that hugs every curve, and the room goes quiet. Jameson forgets to breathe. The dress transforms her, or maybe it just reveals what was always there. Power, grace, the kind of beauty that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with bone-deep strength. He imagines Victoria's face when she sees Aurora in this dress. The shock, the envy, the regret. But the thought feels hollow compared to the reality of Aurora standing before him, uncertain and stunning in equal measure. That one, he says, his voice rough. Colette nods with approval. For the wedding. Yes, yes, Aurora says, unable to look away from her reflection. The woman in the mirror is powerful, elegant, nothing like the person sleeping on park benches 3 days ago. You're staring, Jameson says quietly. I don't recognize myself, she admits. I do, he says. This is who you always were. You just couldn't see it. Their eyes meet in the mirror. The moment stretches, charged with something Aurora can't name. Colette coughs with delicate precision. Shall we continue? They select 4 more dresses, shoes, accessories. Aurora stops looking at price tags after the first few make her dizzy. At the register, Jameson hands over a black card without flinching. $15,000 in clothes. This is insane, Aurora mutters. This is what it costs to play in Victoria's world, he replies. Consider it an education in how the other half lives. The other half, Aurora repeats. You mean you're one of them now? Jameson's jaw tightens. I earned everything I have. Victoria was born into it. There's a difference. Is there? Aurora challenges. You're still using money to solve problems, still treating people as transactions. Like you're not, he shoots back. You took $20,000 to be my date. Don't pretend you're above this. Aurora flinches. He's right. She has no moral high ground here. You're right, she says. We're both using each other. Let's not forget that. She walks out of the boutique, leaving Jameson to follow with the bags. The dinner rehearsal happens at Le Bernardin, where menus don't list prices. Aurora wears midnight blue that makes her hair glow. Jameson in another perfect suit. They look like they belong. We need our story straight, Jameson says after they order. How we met, timeline, details. What do you want it to be? Aurora asks. We met 6 months ago. You consulted on a contract dispute, started dating after the case settled. Aurora nods. It's close enough to plausible given her legal background. And we're serious? She asks. In love. Casually dating? Jameson considers. Serious enough that I'd bring you to my ex's wedding, not engaged, but heading that direction, so I should look at you adoringly. Aurora says dryly. Touch your arm, laugh at your jokes. Can you? He challenges. Laugh at my jokes. That depends. Are you funny? Not even slightly, he admits, and despite herself, Aurora laughs. It's the first genuine laugh she's had in months. The sound surprises them both. See? Jameson says, almost smiling. Turns out I am funny. The waiter arrives with wine. Aurora sips it, rolls it on her tongue, identifies notes of blackberry and oak. You know wine, Jameson observes. My mother worked for a family that owned a vineyard. She'd bring home bottles that weren't quite good enough to sell. I learned young. Tell me about her, he says. Aurora hesitates. Personal details weren't part of their deal, but the wine and low lighting make her honest. Patricia Allen. 52, works 3 jobs as a housekeeper, Irish immigrant, met my father at an estate where she worked. He was married. She didn't know until she was pregnant. He didn't help, Jameson asks, anger in his voice. Gave her money to disappear. She took it for me, raised me alone. Dylan came later, different father. Same story. She raised you, Jameson says. That's courage. Aurora's throat tightens. She doesn't know I'm homeless. I've been lying for 3 months, telling her I'm staying with friends. Why? Because she'd break herself trying to save me. Work a 4th job. Go without food. And she's already sacrificing everything for Dylan's care. So you're protecting her, Jameson says slowly, even while you're drowning. That's what family does, Aurora says simply. Their food arrives. They eat in silence for a moment. Then Jameson speaks. My parents are still together, he says. Married 36 years. They live in Queens. My dad's a construction foreman. My mom's a school secretary. I haven't seen them in 2 years. Aurora's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. Why not? Because I'm ashamed, he admits, the words clearly costing him. Of where I came from, of the small house and the used furniture and the way they still shop with coupons. Victoria made me feel like my background was something to hide. After she left, I rebuilt myself, but I built walls between me and them too. They must miss you, Aurora says gently. They call every week. I make excuses. That's not fair to them. I know, Jameson says quietly. I know. They sit with that truth between them. Around them, wealthy diners laugh and celebrate, unaware of the raw conversation happening at table 12. We're both pretty broken, aren't we? Aurora asks. Thoroughly, Jameson agrees. But we clean up well. Aurora smiles despite herself, reaches across the table without thinking, touches his hand. Thank you. For what? For seeing me. At the salon, the boutique, just now. You keep seeing me when most people look right through homeless people. Jameson turns his hand over, captures her fingers. His touch is warm, solid, real. You're hard to miss, he says. The moment stretches. Aurora should pull her hand away. This is fake, a performance. Practice for the real event, but she doesn't move. Neither does he. The waiter interrupts, asking about dessert. They separate, both suddenly fascinated by their empty plates. We should go, Jameson says. Big day tomorrow. Rehearsal dinner. Right, Aurora agrees. The performance begins. But as they leave the restaurant, Jameson's hand finds the small of her back, guiding her through the crowd. And Aurora doesn't pull away. That night, Aurora lies in her hotel bed, unable to sleep despite the exhaustion. Her phone rings at 1 in the morning. Jameson, "Did I wake you?" he asks. "No, can't sleep. You?" "Same." Silence on the line. Then Aurora speaks. "Where are you?" "My penthouse, on the terrace, looking at the city." Aurora gets up, goes to her window. She can't see his building from here, but she looks anyway. "What are you thinking about?" she asks. "Tomorrow." The rehearsal dinner. Victoria. I haven't seen her in 5 years. Nervous, terrified. He admits, "What if I still feel something? Then you'll know, and you can decide what to do with that." "What if I feel nothing?" he asks. "What if 5 years were for nothing? Then you're free," Aurora says. "Either way, you get an answer." "Tell me about Dylan," Jameson says. Aurora curls up in the window seat. He's beautiful. Autistic, non-verbal, but expressive through art. Draws constantly, birds and flowers, and he has this smile that lights up everything. He's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have him. He reminds me kindness is possible. That innocence exists. "Is that what you think?" Jameson asks. "That everyone is calculating?" "Aren't they?" Aurora challenges. "You're using me for revenge. I'm using you for money. Victoria used you for status. My father used my mother for convenience. Where's the kindness in any of that? You chose homelessness over fraud," Jameson says. "That's kindness to the people who would have been hurt by false documents, or stubbornness, or integrity," he insists. "You could have kept your job, your apartment, your life. You chose truth instead. That's not calculating. That's brave." Aurora's eyes burn. "I don't feel brave. I feel tired." "Then rest," Jameson says softly. "You're safe now, at least for a while." They stay on the phone, saying nothing, just breathing together across the city. Aurora feels sleep tugging at her. "Jameson," she whispers. "Yeah, thank you. For the clothes and the hotel and all of it, but mostly for this, for talking to me like I'm real." "You are real," he says. "You're the most real thing I've encountered in years." Aurora falls asleep with the phone still at her ear. Jameson's breathing steady on the other end of the line. Morning brings Marcus Chen to Jameson's office, arms crossed. "You stayed on the phone with her until 3 a.m., Marcus says. "I saw your log." "So?" Jameson doesn't look up. "This is supposed to be business. You're getting attached. I'm being friendly." "You're falling for her," Marcus states flatly. Jameson looks up. "Don't be ridiculous. I've known you 10 years. You never cared about the actresses and models you dated. You talked to this woman one night and suddenly you can't sleep without her voice. You're reading too much into it. Am I?" Marcus moves closer. "After the wedding, she takes her money and disappears. That's the deal. I know the deal. Do you?" Marcus challenges. "Because you're hoping for something different and you're going to get hurt." After Marcus leaves, Jameson sits alone. He's right. Somewhere between the park bench and the phone call, Aurora stopped being a prop and became a person. A fascinating, complex, damaged person who makes him laugh and challenges him and sees through all his expensive armor to the scared man underneath. And in 13 days, she'll be gone. The thought shouldn't hurt this much. The rehearsal dinner is at a private club in the Upper East Side. Aurora and Jameson arrive together, her hand on his arm, both dressed perfectly. The moment they enter, every head turns. Victoria Sterling stands near the bar, stunning in designer black, her blonde hair swept up, her smile sharp as she sees them approach. "Jameson," she purrs. "What a surprise. I didn't think you'd actually come. Wouldn't miss it." he says smoothly. Victoria, this is Aurora Allen, my girlfriend. Aurora extends her hand, smiling warmly. It's lovely to meet you. Jameson's told me so much about you. Victoria's handshake is brief, assessing. Her eyes travel over Aurora's dress, her hair, her jewelry, calculating worth. How did you two meet? Victoria asks. She was consulting on a legal matter for my company, Jameson says, 6 months ago. A lawyer, Victoria says, something flickering in her eyes. How practical. I find it useful, Aurora replies, her voice pleasant but edged. Law teaches you to see through surface presentations, to find the truth underneath. How interesting, Victoria says, her smile not reaching her eyes. And what area of law? Corporate ethics and fraud prevention, Aurora says, meeting Victoria's gaze directly. I specialized in cases where powerful people abused their positions. The air between them crackles with tension. Jameson's hand tightens on Aurora's waist. Excuse us, Victoria says, spotting someone else. I should greet my other guests. So nice to meet you, Amanda. Aurora, she corrects gently. Of course, Aurora. Victoria glides away. Jameson exhales slowly. Well, he says, that went better than expected. She doesn't remember me, Aurora murmurs. I was too far beneath her notice. But she noticed you tonight, Jameson says, and she's worried. I saw it in her eyes. Benjamin Hartwell approaches, handsome and genuinely warm. You must be Jameson. Victoria's mentioned you. I'm Benjamin. The groom is kind, Aurora realizes immediately. He asks about her work, listens to the answers, treats her like a person rather than arm candy. It makes what she's planning to do so much harder. Victoria's lucky, Aurora hears herself say. Benjamin smiles, oblivious. I'm the lucky one. She's extraordinary. Aurora's guilt is a physical weight. This man doesn't deserve what's coming. But an illegal marriage is still illegal, no matter how kind the groom. Later, in the car ride back, Aurora is quiet. You okay? Jameson asks. Benjamin seems nice. He is old money but actually decent. Nothing like Victoria. This is going to hurt him, Aurora says quietly. What we're doing, it's going to hurt a lot of people. Jameson glances at her, having second thoughts. Aurora thinks about the documents in her hotel safe. The proof of Victoria's corruption, the illegal marriage. No, she says, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Jameson drops her at the hotel. As she's getting out, he catches her wrist. Aurora, he says, whatever happens at that wedding, I'm glad I found you on that bench. She looks at him, this complicated man who hired her for revenge but treats her like she matters. Me too, she admits, even though this is insane and probably a mistake. Probably, he agrees, but the best things usually are. She goes inside, her wrist still warm where he touched it, her mind spinning. In 2 days, she'll destroy Victoria's life. She just wishes it didn't mean destroying Benjamin's too. The morning of the wedding, Aurora wakes at dawn, stomach in knots. Today, she pulls the waterproof folder from the hotel safe. Birth certificates, adoption records. Court documents proving Victoria Sterling and Benjamin Hartwell share a biological father. Illegal sibling marriage. That's what this is. That's what she's about to prevent. Her phone rings. Jameson. Ready? He asks. No, she admits. But I'm doing it anyway. I'll pick you up at 2. Wedding starts at 4. Jameson, she says, then stops. She should tell him. Should warn him that today isn't about his revenge at all. Yeah, nothing. I'll see you at 2. She hangs up before he can ask questions. Spends the next 6 hours getting ready with hands that won't stop shaking. The emerald dress fits perfectly. Her hair falls in loose waves. Makeup enhances without hiding. She looks powerful. Feels terrified. The documents go in a small clutch purse. Everything else stays behind. When Jameson arrives, He stares. "You look," he starts. "Nervous?" she supplies. "Scared? Ready to vomit?" "Stunning," he finishes. "You look stunning. Aurora, are you okay?" She wants to tell him, wants to explain that in 2 hours she's going to detonate a bomb that will destroy lives and go viral across the internet. "I'm fine." She lies. "Let's go." The Hartwell estate is obscene wealth made visible. Marble, crystal chandeliers the size of cars, gardens requiring full-time staff. 300 chairs face an altar dripping with white roses. Aurora and Jameson arrive at 3:30. Guests mingle, champagne flowing, designer gowns everywhere. Victoria holds court near the entrance, radiant in a dress that cost more than Aurora earned in a year at Morrison and Bates. She sees Jameson and Aurora, her smile sharpening. "Jameson," she calls. "Aurora, how lovely you could make it." "Wouldn't miss it," Jameson says smoothly, his hand on Aurora's waist. Victoria's gaze travels over Aurora's dress, her jewelry, calculating and dismissing. "That's a stunning color on you. Very bold." "Thank you," Aurora says, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "You look beautiful, Victoria. This is quite an event." 300 guests, Victoria says with satisfaction. "Everyone who matters in New York. It's important to make a statement, don't you think?" "Absolutely," Aurora agrees, feeling the weight of the documents in her purse. Statements are everything. Something flickers in Victoria's eyes, but her wedding coordinator sweeps her away for photos. Jameson guides Aurora toward their seats. 6th row, aisle seat. Good position for what's coming, though he doesn't know that yet. "She's in rare form," he mutters, still as narcissistic as ever. Aurora watches Victoria pose for cameras, Benjamin beside her looking genuinely happy. Her guilt is a physical ache. "Jameson," she says quietly. "Benjamin seems like a good person." "He is too good for Victoria. What I mean is," Aurora stops, chooses her words with care. "Sometimes good people get hurt by the truth. Does that make the truth less important?" Jameson turns to her, frowning. "What are you talking about?" "Hypothetically, if you knew something that would hurt innocent people but was still true, would you speak up?" "Aurora, you're scaring me. What's going on?" Before she can answer, the orchestra begins playing. Guests rush to seats. The ceremony is starting. Aurora's heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat. "I need you to trust me," she whispers. "Whatever happens in the next hour, I need you to trust that I'm doing the right thing." "Aurora, please," she begs, grabbing his hand. "Just trust me." The processional starts. Bridesmaids in blush pink, groomsmen in classic black. The flower girl draws oars from the crowd. Then Victoria appears at the end of the aisle, and the room goes silent with appreciation. She floats toward Benjamin, confidence radiating from every step. Cameras and phones rise everywhere. This is the society wedding of the season. Everyone wants documentation. Aurora's hands shake. She presses them together, forces herself to breathe. Victoria reaches the altar, takes Benjamin's hands. They smile at each other, and Aurora sees genuine affection there. Real love, or at least the beginning of it. This is going to destroy him. The officiant begins. Standard ceremony language, beautiful words about love and commitment and family. Aurora barely hears it over the roaring in her ears. Jameson squeezes her hand. "You okay?" he mouths. She nods, lies. The ceremony continues. Readings, a unity candle, more beautiful words. The crowd is enthralled, silent except for occasional sniffles. Then the officiant says the words Aurora has been waiting for. "If anyone has any reason these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace." The traditional pause. No one ever speaks. This is just ceremony, just ritual. Aurora stands. The sound of her movement echoes in the silent space. 300 heads turn as one. Jameson's stomach drops. What is she doing? This wasn't the plan. They were supposed to sit here, let Victoria see them together, let his success speak for itself. Aurora is supposed to be his arm candy, his proof of moving on. Not this. Whatever this is, I'm sorry, she says, her voice carrying across the venue, steady and clear. I have to speak. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Jameson's face goes white with shock. Victoria's expression transforms from surprise to fury in half a second. Sit down, Victoria hisses. This is not appropriate. I apologize for the interruption, Aurora continues, pulling the documents from her purse with hands that have stopped shaking. But I have legal information that prevents this marriage from proceeding. My name is Aurora Allen. I'm an attorney, and I must inform you that this ceremony cannot continue. The silence is absolute. Aurora can hear her own heartbeat. Benjamin and Victoria, she says, her voice gentle now, compassionate. I'm so sorry to inform you this way, but you share a biological father. You are half-siblings. For 3 seconds, nothing. The words hang in the air, incomprehensible. Then chaos. The collective gasp from 300 guests sounds like a wave crashing. Someone drops a glass. The crash echoes like gunfire, exclamations of disbelief, shocked whispers building to a roar, and the phones, dozens of phones rising instantly, then hundreds. Everyone recording from every angle. The enormous chandeliers providing perfect lighting for this historic moment. Aurora continues over the growing noise, her voice professional and clear. Richard Hartwell Sr. is the biological father of both Victoria Sterling, born through an extramarital relationship and placed for adoption in 1991, and Benjamin Hartwell IV, born in 1990. I have certified copies of sealed adoption records, original birth certificates, and family court documents. She holds the documents up. The Hartwell family attorney in the front row jumps up, rushing toward her. Under New York state law, Aurora continues, marriage between half-siblings is legally prohibited and void. This ceremony must stop. Benjamin sways at the altar, gripping it for support. His face drains of all color as understanding hits. Victoria stands frozen in her wedding gown, hands shaking. This can't be true. Who are you? Where did these documents come from? I worked at Morrison and Bates law firm, Aurora says, meeting Victoria's gaze. I discovered these sealed records during a case file review. I tried to contact you privately 6 months ago through your attorneys, but they threatened legal action against me. I couldn't allow this illegal marriage to proceed without revealing the truth. I'm sorry it had to be this way. The Hartwell attorney reaches Aurora, examines the documents with shaking hands. His face goes ashen. The crowd presses closer, phones recording every emotion, every tear on Victoria's face, every moment of Benjamin's devastation, every word Aurora speaks. Margaret Hartwell, Benjamin's mother, releases a wounded sound and collapses into her seat. The bridesmaids cluster around Victoria, confused and terrified. And the phones keep recording, the viral moment happening in real time. Jameson watches it unfold in horror and fascination. A woman in the third row live streaming to thousands of viewers. A man behind them narrating into his phone like a sports commentator, flash after flash from cameras, the glowing screens creating a sea of light in the dimming evening. This isn't just a scandal. It's history being documented from every angle. We're siblings, Benjamin's voice barely audible, but picked up by a dozen microphones. We're really... The documentation appears completely authentic and legally binding, the attorney says, his voice hollow. These are certified court records. This marriage cannot legally proceed under New York state law. I'm so sorry. Benjamin, Victoria. Victoria's carefully constructed composure shatters. Tears stream down her face, smudging perfect makeup. I didn't know. I never knew who my biological father was. The adoption records were sealed. She looks at Aurora with genuine devastation. Why would you reveal this here, in front of everyone? On camera? The question hangs in the air. 300 people lean forward, waiting for the answer. This is the moment that will define the narrative. Jameson holds his breath. Aurora's voice remains calm, but carries compassion. I've known for 3 months. I discovered this while investigating the fraud case at Morrison and Bates, the case where you ordered me to falsify documents. When I refused and threatened to report the misconduct, you had me fired and blacklisted. Your lawyers threatened me with legal destruction when I tried to inform you privately about this situation. I had no other choice. Victoria, the law prohibits marriages between half-siblings. I couldn't let you unknowingly commit a crime. Recognition flashes across Victoria's face. She remembers now, the junior associate who wouldn't bend, the woman whose life she casually destroyed. You, Victoria whispers, you're that lawyer, the one I fired. Yes, Aurora says simply, I'm that lawyer. The crowd erupts with shocked whispers, this revelation adding another layer to an already explosive story. Benjamin approaches Aurora and Victoria both, moving like a man in a nightmare. Is it true? Are we really related? Aurora nods. I'm so sorry. The evidence is conclusive. Richard Hartwell Sr. is your shared biological father. Oh God, Benjamin says, and then he's on his knees, Victoria catching him, both of them crying on the altar while 300 guests watch in stunned silence and hundreds of phones record every moment. The room fills with simultaneous conversations, society matrons clutching pearls, elderly relatives calling for assistance, young guests frantically typing on phones, and the digital explosion begins. Aurora can see it happening. Guests live streaming, videos uploading, the first posts going viral within seconds, hashtags appearing. Sterling wedding scandal trending before the ceremony even officially ends. Someone shouts, I'm literally watching this couple find out they're related. Another voice, this is the craziest thing I've ever witnessed. News alerts start pinging on phones across the venue, reporters receiving tips, rushing toward the estate entrance. The story spreading like wildfire. Jameson sits frozen in his seat, his mind struggling to process what just happened. Half-siblings, illegal marriage, sealed adoption records. His date didn't just accompany him to his ex's wedding. She detonated a nuclear bomb in the middle of it. For reasons that have nothing to do with him, everything clicks into place. Her nervousness this morning, her cryptic questions about truth hurting innocent people, her plea for him to trust her, the way she reacted when he first mentioned Victoria's name in the park. She's been planning this the entire time. He looks at Aurora, standing alone in the center of chaos, legally certified documents in hand, her expression resolute but heartbroken. 300 people staring, hundreds of phones recording, her reputation, her safety, her entire future on the line. And she did it anyway. She used him, the same way he used her, but she used him for something that actually mattered. Did you know anything about this? Marcus appears beside Jameson, equally shocked. Nothing, Jameson manages. I had no idea. I thought this was about me and Victoria, my revenge. Your revenge just became the smallest part of this story, Marcus says, watching the pandemonium. That woman just stopped an illegal marriage on camera in front of everyone who matters in New York society. This is going to be everywhere. Jameson watches Aurora surrounded by chaos, phones recording her from every angle, and realizes she's just sacrificed herself for the truth. She used me, he says hollowly. You used each other, Marcus corrects. But she used you for something that actually mattered. For justice, police arrived to handle the disturbance and verify documents. Press pushes against security at the entrance. Aurora gives her evidence to authorities and the family attorney for verification. Victoria, escorted out by family, throws one last look at Aurora. It's not hatred, it's something more complex. Devastation mixed with a terrible understanding. Benjamin approaches Aurora before security leads him away. "Thank you," he says quietly. "I know you don't want my thanks, but you saved me from a catastrophic mistake. After the wedding was stopped, I had independent DNA testing done. It confirmed everything. You were right. I'm so sorry," Aurora whispers. "You deserved better than to find out this way." "I deserved the truth," he says simply, "even when the truth is terrible." He walks away, leaving Aurora standing alone in the emptying venue. Jameson tries to reach her through the crowd. She sees him coming, her face crumpling with guilt and exhaustion. Before he can reach her, she slips out a side entrance. Jameson follows, pushing through clusters of shocked guests, through security trying to control the chaos, out into the late afternoon sun. He finds her a mile down the road, walking in her emerald gown and heels, her clutch purse still in her hand. He pulls up beside her in his car. "Get in. I can walk." "Aurora, get in the car." "Why?" She turns on him, tears streaming down her face. "So you can yell at me? Tell me I ruined your revenge? I know I did. But I couldn't let them get married. I couldn't. I'm not going to yell at you," Jameson says quietly. "I'm going to drive you somewhere safe. Then we're going to talk. Please, get in the car." Aurora stares at him, searching his face for anger, finds only confusion and concern. She gets in. They drive in silence for 10 minutes. Aurora stares out the window. Behind them, the scandal is exploding across every platform. But in this car, there's just silence. "You knew," Jameson finally says, "the whole time. You knew about the adoption records, the relationship, everything." "Yes, that's why you accepted my offer, not for the money." "Well, not just for the money. You needed a way into that wedding." "Yes," Aurora admits. "Victoria destroyed my life, took everything from me. Then I discovered she was about to commit a crime, marry her own brother. I couldn't let it happen. You could have told me." "Would you have brought me if I had?" Aurora challenges. "If I'd said, 'Hey, I need to crash your ex's wedding to expose illegal incest,' would you have said yes?" Jameson is quiet. They both know the answer. "I used you," Aurora continues, her voice breaking, "the same way you used me. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to hurt Victoria in your way, and I stole that from you. I stole your revenge and made it about something else entirely." Jameson pulls into a parking lot, turns off the engine, turns to face her completely. "Do you want to know something?" he asks. "When I was sitting in that church, watching you stand up alone, my first thought wasn't about my revenge. It wasn't about Victoria at all. It was about you, about how brave you were, how terrified you must have been, how alone you looked up there." Aurora stares at him, tears still falling. "My second thought," Jameson continues, "was that I wanted to stand up with you. Wanted to face that crowd together, because somewhere in the last week, you became more important than any revenge I'd planned for 5 years. You didn't steal anything," he says with conviction. "You exposed the truth, a truth that needed exposing. Victoria was marrying her own brother, Aurora. You stopped that. You did the right thing. The right thing." Aurora laughs bitterly. "I humiliated 2 people in front of 300 guests. I ruined a wedding. I destroyed lives, all on camera. That's the right thing." "Yes," Jameson says firmly, "because the alternative was letting them commit a crime, letting them live a lie that would have destroyed them eventually. You gave them the truth. You did it publicly because you had no other choice." Aurora looks at him, tears still falling. "You're not angry?" "I'm angry you didn't trust me enough to tell me, but angry at you for what you did." "No." He pulls into a parking lot, turns to face her. Aurora, I watched you stand up alone in that room. Watched you speak the truth when it would have been so much easier to stay silent. Watched you sacrifice your own safety and reputation to stop something illegal. That took more courage than anything I've ever seen. It doesn't feel like courage, she whispers. It feels like destruction. That's because destruction and creation are sometimes the same thing, Jameson says. You destroyed a lie. That's how truth gets created. Aurora breaks down completely. Jameson pulls her into his arms, letting her cry against his shoulder, her makeup smearing on his shirt, her careful composure finally crumbling. I'm so tired, she sobs. I'm so tired of fighting, of being alone, of choosing truth when it costs everything. You're not alone, Jameson says into her hair. Not anymore. I'm here. I'm in your corner. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Together, Aurora repeats, pulling back to look at him. Why would you want to be part of this mess? Because somewhere between the park bench and this moment, you stopped being a means to an end. You became the end itself, the only thing that actually matters. He wipes tears from her cheeks with his thumbs, his touch gentle. Some people are worth more than they appear, he says softly. You taught me that. About you. About myself. About what actually matters. Aurora looks at him, this man who was supposed to be just a transaction, just a way into a wedding. This man who's holding her while her entire world implodes. What happens now? She asks. Now we go somewhere private. We turn off our phones. We breathe. And tomorrow we figure out the rest. Victoria's lawyers will come after me. Let them, Jameson says. I have lawyers too, better ones. You're not fighting alone anymore. He kisses her forehead, starts the car. They drive away from the Hartwell estate, from the scandal, from everything, into the city as the sun sets. Behind them, the wedding scandal is going viral. Sterling. Wedding scandal is trending #1 nationally. Videos from multiple angles flooding social media, news outlets broadcasting breaking alerts. But in Jameson's car, there's just the two of them. An unlikely alliance that became something neither expected, something that might actually be real. Aurora wakes in Jameson's guest apartment to her phone exploding with notifications. 300 missed calls, 5,000 messages, interview requests, legal threats, messages from people she hasn't spoken to in years. The wedding scandal is everywhere. She scrolls through news headlines with numb fingers. Homeless lawyer crashes society wedding, Sterling Hartwell wedding halted, bride and groom revealed as half-siblings, viral video shows, lawyer exposing illegal marriage. The videos are everywhere. Multiple angles of her standing, speaking, holding documents, Victoria's tears, Benjamin's collapse, the crowd's shock, millions of views, trending #1. Her phone rings, unknown number. She answers without thinking. Miss Allen, this is Catherine Ward from the New York Times. We'd like to interview you about yesterday's events. Aurora hangs up. The phone rings again immediately. Different number. She turns it off completely. A knock on the door. Jameson, carrying coffee and bagels. He's been up since 5, watching the coverage spiral, fielding calls from his PR team and investors. Everyone wants to know why the CEO of Baker Technologies was at the scandal of the decade. Why his date was the woman who exposed it. What his connection is to all of this. He's told them all the same thing. No comment. Because the only person who deserves an explanation is the one sitting in his guest apartment, looking shell-shocked and exhausted. You're up, he says. How are you feeling? Like I'm drowning, Aurora admits. It's everywhere. Every news station, every social media platform, everywhere. They're calling me homeless, desperate, attention-seeking. They're also calling you brave, Jameson says, setting the food down. I've been reading the coverage. It's split. Half think you're a hero for stopping an illegal marriage, half think you're a vindictive woman with an agenda. Which half is winning? Does it matter? He sits across from her. You told the truth. That's what matters. Aurora's phone, even turned off, feels heavy in her hand. Victoria's lawyers sent a cease and desist last night, threatening defamation lawsuits, emotional distress, conspiracy charges. They're claiming I fabricated evidence. Did you? Of course not, Aurora snaps. Every document is authentic, certified copies from court records, but I can't afford lawyers to defend myself. I'm homeless, Jameson. I have nothing. They're going to destroy me. Let me help you. What? Let me hire lawyers for you. The best defense team money can buy. You exposed the truth. You shouldn't be punished for it. Aurora stares at him. Why would you do that? Our deal is over. The wedding happened. I didn't hold up my end. You don't owe me anything. Maybe I want to, he says simply. Maybe I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines while good people get destroyed for doing the right thing. Jameson, Aurora, I brought you into this. I put you in that wedding. Yes, you had your own reasons for being there, but I facilitated it. Let me help you through the consequences. This isn't your responsibility. I'm making it my responsibility, he says firmly. You stood alone in that church. You don't have to stand alone now. Aurora's eyes burn with tears she won't let fall. I don't know how to accept help. Then learn, Jameson says with gentle firmness. Starting now. My legal team is the best in the city. Let them defend you. Before Aurora can answer, someone pounds on the apartment door. Heavy, aggressive knocking. Jameson looks through the peephole, his expression darkening. Reporters. They found you. Aurora's heart races. How? Someone must have followed us yesterday or tracked you through the hotel. It doesn't matter. We need to get you somewhere safer. The knocking intensifies. Voices shouting questions through the door. Miss Allen, do you have a comment on Victoria Sterling's allegations? Is it true you were fired from Morrison and Bates for misconduct? Were you paid to disrupt the wedding? How long have you been homeless? Are you and Mr. Baker romantically involved? Each question is a punch. Aurora backs away from the door, her breathing shallow. Jameson sees her panic, moves to block her view of the door. Look at me. Aurora, look at me. She meets his eyes. I can't get in here, he says. You're safe, but we need to leave before they camp out in the hallway. Can you pack? Aurora nods, numb, grabs her bag, throws in her few belongings with shaking hands. Jameson makes calls while she packs. Security, his driver, Marcus. 5 minutes later, building security clears a path through a service entrance. They slip out while reporters are still pounding on the front door. The safe house is a furnished apartment Jameson owns in Brooklyn under a corporate LLC. Anonymous, untraceable. He uses it sometimes when he needs to work without interruption. Aurora stands in the middle of the living room, her single bag on the floor, feeling displaced and exhausted. How long do I need to hide? She asks. Until we figure out the legal strategy. Jameson says, my team is meeting us here in an hour. They'll review everything, plan our defense. Our defense, Aurora repeats. This is my problem, not yours. We're making it ours, a new voice says from the doorway. Marcus Chen enters, carrying his laptop and a box of files, because apparently Jameson has decided to make your fight his fight, which means it's my fight too. Marcus, you don't need to save it, Marcus interrupts, setting his things down. I've known this idiot for 10 years. I've watched him build walls around himself, pushing away everyone who cared, his parents, old friends, anyone who might actually matter. You're the first person to crack those walls. First person he's looked at like they're more than a business transaction or a means to an end. Marcus looks at Jameson, then back to Aurora. So yeah, we're helping you. Deal with it. Jameson shifts uncomfortably. Marcus, what? Marcus challenges. You think I haven't noticed? You've been different since you met her. Actually present, actually caring about something other than profit margins and Victoria's opinion of you. Aurora looks between them, overwhelmed. I don't understand why you're doing this. Because you did the right thing, Jameson says, and doing the right thing shouldn't mean facing destruction alone. 2 lawyers arrive an hour later. Sharp, expensive, the kind of legal representation Aurora could never afford. They spread documents across the dining table, reviewing every detail of her case. The evidence is solid. The lead attorney, Rachel Kim, says after examining Aurora's documents, these adoption records are authentic, certified copies. The birth certificates match. The court documents are properly sealed and accessed through legal channels during your employment at Morrison and Bates. So Victoria's team, claiming I fabricated evidence, Aurora asks, is desperate and provably false, Rachel confirms. We can defend against that easily. The real question is damages. Victoria is claiming emotional distress, reputational harm, and public humiliation. She's asking for $3 million. Aurora's stomach drops. $3 million. I don't have 3,000. Which is why they're doing it. The second attorney, David Park, says, they're trying to bury you under legal fees and impossible damages, force you into a settlement or bankruptcy. Standard Victoria Sterling playbook, Jameson mutters. She did the same thing to other people who crossed her. Can we win? Aurora asks. Yes, Rachel says with confidence. You stopped an illegal marriage. That's a defense. You tried to contact them privately first. That shows good faith. You're an officer of the court with a legal duty to prevent crime. We have multiple angles of defense. But trials are expensive, Aurora says quietly, and long, and I have nothing, no income, no home, no savings. How do I survive while this plays out? The lawyers exchange glances. Jameson speaks before they can. You work for me. Everyone turns to stare at him. What? Aurora manages. You're a brilliant lawyer. I need legal consulting for Baker Technologies. Contracts as ethics reviews, compliance. You work for my company. Salary, benefits, apartment in the city. Real employment, not charity. Jameson, I can't. Why not? He challenges. You need income. I need a lawyer with integrity. You've already proven you won't compromise your ethics even when it costs everything. That's exactly what I need on my team. Aurora shakes her head. This is too much. The legal defense, the safe house, now employment. I don't know how to accept all of this. Then start small, Marcus suggests. Accept the job. Everything else follows from that. Because it feels like charity, Aurora says. It's employment, Rachel interjects. And honestly, Miss Allen, it solves several problems at once. It gives you financial stability, a permanent address for legal proceedings, and it changes the narrative. You're not a homeless woman with an agenda. You're an employed attorney who stopped a crime, employed at the company owned by the man who brought you to that wedding. David adds, Victoria's team will try to spin that as conspiracy. We'll counter with the fact that you were hired after the wedding as a direct result of Mr. Baker recognizing your legal expertise and ethical standards. Aurora looks at Jameson, searching for the catch. You'd really hire me? I already did, he says. You start Monday. Salary is $200,000 a year. That's market rate for experienced corporate counsel, so don't argue about it being too much. 200,000, Aurora whispers. That's more than I made at Morrison and Bates. Then they were underpaying you, Marcus says, which, knowing Victoria, they probably were. The meeting continues. Strategy, timelines, responses to media inquiries. Aurora tries to focus, but her mind keeps circling back to Jameson's offer. He's giving her everything: safety, income, legal defense, a future. Why? After the lawyers leave, Aurora and Jameson sit in the living room with takeout Chinese food. The first real meal Aurora's had since the wedding. Why are you doing this? She asks finally. Really doing this? Not the business reasons or the legal strategy. Why? Jameson is quiet for a long moment. Then he says something that changes everything. Because watching you stand up in that church was the bravest thing I've ever seen. And I realized that for 5 years, I've been chasing revenge against someone who wasn't worth my anger. While you've been fighting for truth, despite it costing you everything, you reminded me who I wanted to be. A homeless lawyer with no prospects. Aurora tries to joke. Someone who values integrity over comfort, Jameson corrects. Someone who doesn't compromise on what matters. I've spent 5 years becoming rich and successful and empty. You spent 5 months losing everything and keeping your soul. I'd rather be you than me. Aurora's eyes fill with tears. I don't feel brave. I feel scared and tired and so alone. You're not alone, Jameson says, moving closer. Not anymore. I'm here. Marcus is here. We're in this together. Together, Aurora repeats. That's the second time you've said that. Because I mean it, he says. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Aurora looks at him. This man who was supposed to be a transaction, a means to an end. This man who's become so much more. I need to see my brother, she says suddenly. I need to see Dylan. Make sure he's okay, that the scandal hasn't reached him. Then we'll go, Jameson says without hesitation. Right now, if you want. The care facility is quiet on Sunday afternoons. Dylan sits in his room, drawing as always, surrounded by papers covered in birds and flowers. He looks up when Aurora enters, and his face transforms with joy. He can't speak, but his happiness is written in every line of his body. Hey, buddy, Aurora says, hugging him tight. I missed you. Dylan pulls back, examines her face with concern. He points to her eyes, then makes a gesture asking if she's sad. I'm okay, Aurora assures him. Just tired. I wanted to see you. Dylan looks unconvinced. He touches her face gently, his expression worried. Then he picks up his sketch pad, flips through pages, and shows her a drawing. It's a bird in a cage, simple but heartbreaking. That's how you see me, Aurora whispers. Trapped? Dylan nods. Then he flips to another page. The same bird, flying free, surrounded by flowers. You want me to be free, she says, tears spilling over. Dylan wipes her tears with his thumbs, then points to Jameson in the doorway. Dylan, this is Jameson, Aurora introduces, her voice thick. He's my friend. Jameson enters, extending his hand. Dylan shakes it with formal precision, then immediately shows Jameson his drawings. Jameson takes his time with each one, examining the details, asking questions that Dylan answers through gestures and expressions. Aurora watches them together, seeing Jameson treat her brother with genuine respect, not condescension or pity. Most people talk down to Dylan, talk around him like he's not there, but Jameson speaks directly to him, waits for responses, listens to what Dylan communicates without words. These are incredible, Jameson says, examining a particularly complex drawing of a hummingbird. You have real talent. Have you ever thought about showing these in a gallery? Dylan's eyes go wide. He looks to Aurora, uncertain. He's serious, Aurora says. These are good enough to show. Dylan beams, selects a drawing of a bird in flight and hands it to Jameson. For me, Jameson asks. Dylan nods enthusiastically. Thank you. I'll keep this forever. I promise. Dylan pulls out his communication device, types slowly. The computerized voice reads, she needs someone to help her fly. Jameson looks at Aurora, then back at Dylan. I'm trying. Is that okay with you? Dylan studies Jameson for a long moment, then nods and types again. You make her smile. Keep doing that. I will, Jameson promises. Aurora watches them together, her brother showing Jameson drawing after drawing, Jameson asking questions, treating Dylan with respect and kindness. Her chest aches with an emotion she can't quite name. Later, walking back to the car, Jameson says, "He's wonderful. You're lucky to have him." "I'm lucky to have him," Aurora agrees. "He reminds me why truth matters, why integrity matters. He sees the world without all the complications and compromises adults make." "Just pure honesty, like you," Jameson says. "I'm not pure anything," Aurora laughs bitterly. "I used you, manipulated you, put you in an impossible situation. You did what you had to do to stop a crime," Jameson corrects. "There's a difference between manipulation and survival." They reach the car. Before getting in, Aurora turns to him. "Jameson, I need you to know something. When I accepted your offer in the park, I was desperate. I needed money for Dylan's care, but I was also planning to expose Victoria. I used your access to that wedding for my own purposes. I'm not proud of it, but I won't lie about it either." "I know," he says simply. "You know? I figured it out yesterday. The way you reacted when I first mentioned Victoria's name. Your nervousness at the wedding, your insistence that I trust you. You had a plan that had nothing to do with my revenge. And you're not angry." "I was," he admits, "for about 5 minutes. Then I realized that you used me for something that mattered. That's more than I can say for most people in my life. Victoria used me for status. Business partners used me for money. You used me for justice. I can live with that." Aurora doesn't know what to say. She settles for honesty. "You're a good man, Jameson Baker, better than you think you are." "I'm trying to be," he says. "No, you make me want to be." They stand in the parking lot as the sun sets, the weight of the scandal temporarily forgotten. Just two people who found each other in chaos and decided to face the storm together. "What happens tomorrow?" Aurora asks. "Tomorrow I introduce you to my team at Baker Technologies. We set you up with an office, a computer, business cards, make it official, and the lawsuit. Rachel and David handle it. They're the best. They'll protect you." "And us?" Aurora asks quietly. "What are we?" Jameson considers the question. "Partners, allies, friends who became something more by accident. By chaos," Aurora corrects with a small smile. "By fate," Jameson says. "Or whatever force put you on that bench the night I walked past. You could have kept walking." "I tried," he admits. "Made it about 10 steps before something made me turn around. Best decision I ever made." Aurora steps closer, rises on her toes, kisses his cheek gently. "Thank you for everything. For seeing me. For helping me. For not walking away when you easily could have." Jameson's hand comes up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheekbone. "I couldn't walk away if I tried. Not anymore." The moment stretches, charged with possibility. Then Aurora's phone buzzes with an emergency alert. They both check their phones. A news notification. Victoria Sterling holds press conference, claims evidence fabrication, and so it begins, Aurora says wearily. "Then we fight," Jameson says. "Together, like we agreed." They get in the car, drive back to the safe house as the city lights flicker on around them. The scandal is far from over. The legal battle has only just begun. But for the first time since sleeping on that park bench, Aurora doesn't feel alone. And for the first time in 5 years, Jameson feels like he's fighting for something that actually matters. Not revenge, not validation, but something real. Someone real. Together, they might just survive this. Together, they might even win. Monday morning, Aurora walks into Baker Technologies, wearing a new suit Jameson insisted on buying, carrying a leather briefcase that still smells fresh from the store. Her office is on the 37th floor. Corner space. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan, a desk bigger than her old apartment bedroom, a nameplate that reads, "Aurora Allen, Chief Legal Counsel. She stands in the doorway, unable to move. 2 weeks ago, she was sleeping on a park bench. Now she has an office with a view and a title that matters and a salary that will let her pay Dylan's care facility bills without fear. The weight of it threatens to crush her. The gratitude, the impossibility, the terror that it could all disappear as fast as it came. Like it, Jameson appears behind her, carrying coffee. "I had it set up your computer over the weekend. Password is whatever you want it to be." "This is too much," Aurora whispers. "This is exactly right," he corrects. "You're a senior attorney at a major tech company. This is standard for the position." "Nothing about this situation is standard." "Then we'll make it standard," he says. "Come on. I'll introduce you to the team." The next 3 hours are a whirlwind, meeting department heads, reviewing contracts, sitting in on a strategy session about a new product launch. Aurora's legal mind engages despite her exhaustion, catching issues, suggesting solutions, impressing people who didn't know what to expect from the CEO's controversial new hire. At lunch, Marcus joins them in Jameson's office with sandwiches. The team likes her, Marcus reports. "I've been listening to the chatter. They were worried you hired someone unqualified because of the scandal, but she caught that licensing issue in about 30 seconds that our previous counsel missed for 6 months. I told you she was brilliant," Jameson says. Aurora picks at her sandwich. "Previous counsel, what happened to them?" "He retired," Jameson says. "6 months ago. We've been using outside firms since then. This is better. Having someone in-house who actually cares about ethics, unlike Victoria's firm," Aurora mutters. "Unlike Victoria's firm." Jameson agrees. Marcus watches them with keen interest. "So what's the living situation? Still at the safe house?" "For now," Jameson says, "until we find Aurora a permanent apartment, something secure, with good building security." "I can find my own apartment," Aurora protests. "You can," Jameson agrees. "But humor me on the security part. Victoria's lawyers are circling. I don't want reporters camping outside your door." Aurora wants to argue. Instead, she finds herself agreeing. Letting someone help is still foreign, but she's learning. The days develop a rhythm. Mornings reviewing contracts and compliance. Afternoons in meetings, proving she belongs. Evenings at the safe house with Jameson, discussing cases, sharing takeout, talking until late. They're careful not to cross lines. Aurora takes the bedroom. Jameson sleeps on the couch despite her protests. They don't touch beyond casual brushes. Don't discuss the tension building between them. But it's there. Undeniable. Friday evening, 1 week into her new job, Aurora emerges from the bathroom in pajamas to find Jameson on the couch, reviewing contracts, his tie discarded, shirt sleeves rolled up, reading glasses on. She stops, stares. "What?" he asks, looking up. "Nothing." "You have reading glasses. I didn't know." "I'm vain," he admits. "Usually wear contacts, but my eyes are tired tonight." "They suit you," she says before she can stop herself. The air shifts. Jameson sets the contract down, removes his glasses slowly. "Aurora, I should go to bed," she interrupts. "Early morning tomorrow." She retreats to the bedroom, closing the door, leaning against it with her heart pounding. This is getting complicated. Saturday, Jameson knocks on her bedroom door at 9. "Get dressed," he calls through the wood. "We're going somewhere." "Where?" It's a surprise. Something casual. Jeans are fine. An hour later, they're in his car heading toward Queens. Aurora watches the neighborhoods change from Manhattan's skyscrapers to residential streets with small houses and tree-lined sidewalks. "Where are we going?" she asks. Jameson's hands tighten on the steering wheel. "To see my parents. I haven't visited in 2 years. You made me realize I was being a coward about it." "Jameson, you don't have to." "I want to," he says. "I want them to meet you." Is that okay? Aurora's chest tightens with an emotion she can't name. Yes, that's okay. The Baker house is small but immaculate. A postage-stamp lawn with carefully tended flowers, an American flag on the porch, everything neat and loved. Jameson's mother answers the door, and her face transforms with shock and joy. Jamie? She uses a nickname Aurora's never heard. Oh my God, Jamie? She pulls him into a fierce hug. Jameson returns it, his face crumpling with emotion he's been holding back for years. Hi, Mom, he manages. 2 years, she says, pulling back to look at him. 2 years you stay away. Your father and we thought... I know, Jameson interrupts. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. His mother notices Aurora, her expression shifting to curiosity. And who's this beautiful young woman? Mom, this is Aurora Allen. Aurora, my mother, Patricia Baker. It's lovely to meet you, Aurora says, extending her hand. Patricia ignores the hand, pulling Aurora into a hug instead. Any friend of Jamie's is family. Come in, come in. Thomas, get out here. Jameson's father appears from the garage, wiping grease from his hands. He's tall, solidly built, with the same grey eyes as his son. Those eyes widen when he sees Jameson. Son, he says simply. Dad, Jameson replies. They embrace, harder and longer than the hug with his mother. When they separate, Thomas's eyes are wet. About time you came home, he says gruffly. The kitchen smells like fresh bread and coffee. Patricia insists on feeding them despite Aurora's protests that they already ate. Within minutes, the table is covered with sandwiches, cookies, fruit, cheese. Your mother shows love through food, Thomas explains to Aurora. Don't bother arguing, just eat. Aurora finds herself relaxing into the warmth of this small kitchen. Patricia asks about her work, her family, her life, with genuine interest. Thomas discusses construction projects and asks Jameson smart questions about the business that prove he's been following his son's success even from a distance. So, how did you two meet? Patricia asks, refilling coffee cups. Aurora and Jameson exchange glances. It's complicated, Jameson starts. I was having a difficult time, Aurora says. Jameson helped me when he didn't have to. Gave me a chance when no one else would. That sounds like my son, Patricia says warmly. He inherited his father's good heart, even when he tries to hide it under expensive suits. Mom, Jameson protests, but he's smiling. After lunch, Thomas insists on showing Jameson a project in the garage. Patricia draws Aurora into the small living room, photo albums already out. I have to show you baby pictures, she says with conspiratorial warmth. It's my right as a mother. Plus, I need to see if you're worthy of my son. No pressure, Aurora laughs, settling beside her on the worn couch. The albums are filled with photos of a happy childhood, birthday parties, little league games, school plays. Jameson as a gap-toothed kid wearing a superhero cape. A gangly teenager at prom, looking uncomfortable in a tux. A proud graduate holding his diploma with his parents beaming beside him. He was always so driven, Patricia says softly, tracing a photo of young Jameson at a science fair. Even as a little boy, wanted to make something of himself. I think it was because he saw his father work so hard and barely keep us afloat. He wanted to give us more. You gave him plenty, Aurora says, emotion thick in her throat. Anyone can see he was loved. This house, these photos, they're full of it. Patricia's eyes fill with tears. Then why did he stay away? For 2 years, Aurora. 2 years he didn't visit, barely called, always had excuses. Did we do something wrong? Aurora's throat tightens. No, he did something wrong. He let someone make him ashamed of where he came from, of this beautiful home and this beautiful family, but he's working on fixing that. Coming here today, that's him fixing it. You did that, Patricia says. You brought him back to us. I can see it in how he looks at you. That boy is in love. We're not, Aurora starts. Honey, Patricia interrupts gently. I've been married 36 years. I know what love looks like. And that boy loves you. Question is, do you love him back? Aurora opens her mouth to deny it, but sitting in this warm living room, surrounded by photos of the man Jameson became despite obstacles, despite Victoria's cruelty, despite everything, she can't lie. Yes, she whispers. I think I do. Patricia smiles, pats Aurora's hand. Good. He deserves someone who sees him for who he is, not what he has. You keep doing that. In the garage, Thomas shows Jameson a bookshelf he's building for Patricia's birthday. Your mother's always wanted a proper library, Thomas says, running his hand along the wood. I'm finally building her one. It's beautiful work, Jameson says, examining the joinery. You taught me well. I'd forgotten how much I loved working with my hands. Thomas sets down his tools, turns to face his son. Why'd you stay away, Jamie? Really? Not the excuses you gave on the phone. The real reason. Jameson leans against the workbench, the weight of 2 years pressing down. Because I was ashamed of where I came from, of the small house and used furniture and your construction job instead of some corporate career. Victoria made me feel like my background was something to hide, and after she left, I kept hiding it from everyone, including you. That hurt your mother, Thomas says quietly. Hurt me too. I know, Jameson says. I'm sorry, Dad, I'm so sorry. Thomas crosses the garage, pulls his son into another hug. You're here now, that's what matters, and you brought that girl with you, Aurora. She's something special. She is, Jameson agrees. You love her? Yeah, Jameson admits. I do. I didn't plan to. She was supposed to be a business arrangement, but she's become everything. Does she know? Not yet? Then tell her, Thomas advises. Life's too short to wait for the perfect moment. Sometimes you just have to say it. On the drive back to Manhattan, the car fills with comfortable silence. Aurora watches the city approach, her mind spinning from Patricia's words. That boy loves you. Your parents are wonderful, she says. They liked you, Jameson replies. My mum pulled me aside before we left, told me not to screw this up. Screw what up? Us, he says simply. Whatever we are, whatever we're becoming. Aurora's pulse quickens. And what are we becoming? Jameson pulls over suddenly, parking on a quiet street in Brooklyn, turns to face her. I don't know, he admits. I know you're my employee, which makes this complicated. I know we started as a transaction, which makes it messier. I know you're dealing with a lawsuit and trauma and upheaval, which makes the timing terrible. But Aurora prompts, but I can't stop thinking about you, he confesses. I wake up and my first thought is whether you slept okay in that bedroom. I go through my day looking for excuses to see you. I lie on that couch at night knowing you're 20 feet away, and it takes everything in me not to knock on your door. Aurora's breath catches. Jameson, I'm falling for you, Aurora. Maybe I already fell. I don't know when it happened. The park bench, the wedding, the moment you stood up and chose truth over safety. Somewhere in all of this chaos, you became the only thing that makes sense. The confession hangs between them. Aurora's heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat. Say something, Jameson pleads. Tell me I'm not alone in this. Aurora unbuckles her seatbelt, leans across the center console, cups his face in her hands. You're not alone, she whispers. Then she kisses him. It's tentative at first, a question more than a statement, her lips soft against his, tasting possibility and fear in equal measure. For a heartbeat, neither moves. Then Jameson makes a sound low in his throat, his hands coming up to her waist, pulling her closer across the center console. The kiss deepens, becomes certain, becomes real. His lips are soft, warm, tasting like coffee and something uniquely him. His hands slide up her back, one tangling in her hair, and Aurora gasps against his mouth. The sound seems to break something in both of them. She presses closer, trying to eliminate every inch of space, her hands fisting in his shirt. Jameson's other hand cups her face, his thumb stroking her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. The contrast between the tender touch and the intensity of the kiss makes Aurora dizzy. She's kissed men before, but never like this. Never with her entire soul involved, every wall down, everything real. They break apart breathless, foreheads touching, both trembling. "I've wanted to do that since the boutique," Jameson admits. "Watching you in that emerald dress, I forgot how to breathe." "I've wanted you to do that since the restaurant," Aurora confesses. "When you took my hand across the table, I almost kissed you then. Why didn't you?" "Because I was lying to you, planning to use you. I didn't feel like I deserved this. And now I want to be honest," Aurora says. "About everything, I'm terrified, Jameson. Of this, of us, of how fast I'm falling. I've lost everything before. If I lose you too, I don't know if I'll survive it." "You won't lose me," he promises. "I'm not going anywhere." "You can't promise that." "Yes, I can," he insists, "because I choose this. I choose you. Every day. For however long you'll have me, I choose you." Aurora kisses him again, deeper this time, trying to convey everything she can't quite say yet. The fear and hope and desperate longing. Jameson responds with equal intensity, his hands mapping her back, her sides, learning the shape of her. A car honks as it passes, reminding them they're in public. They separate, laughing breathlessly. "We should go home," Jameson says. "Your place or mine," Aurora jokes, then realizes what she said. "I mean, the safe house. Obviously the safe house. We both live there currently." "I wasn't suggesting—" Jameson silences her with another kiss, shorter but no less devastating. "I know what you meant," he says, smiling against her mouth. "Come on, let's go home." That night, they sit on the couch together, Aurora curled against Jameson's side, his arm around her shoulders. They're watching a movie neither is paying attention to. "We should talk about the complications," Aurora says during a commercial break. "Must we?" "Yes, you're my boss. That's a power imbalance." "You're not wrong," Jameson admits. "HR is going to have a field day with the paperwork, but for what it's worth, you were hired on merit. And if you ever feel pressured or uncomfortable, you can walk away. The job is yours, regardless of what happens between us personally. You'd keep employing me if we broke up." "Of course," he says. "You're the best legal counsel we've ever had. Marcus already wants to give you a raise." Aurora laughs despite herself. "We haven't even had a first date and you're planning our breakup." "I'm planning for every contingency," he corrects. "That's what good businessmen do. Though for the record, I have no intention of breaking up with you." "Presumptuous," Aurora teases, "assuming I'm your girlfriend. Aren't you?" The question is vulnerable beneath the casual tone. Aurora turns to look at him, sees the uncertainty in his eyes. "Yes," she says softly. "If you want me to be—" "I want you to be," he confirms. "I want you to be everything." They kiss again, slower this time, exploratory, learning each other without urgency. Aurora's hands slide under his shirt, feeling warm skin and muscle. Jameson groans, his grip on her tightening. "We should slow down," he says against her mouth, though his hands contradict his words, pulling her closer. "Why?" Aurora asks, kissing along his jaw. "Because you've been through trauma. Major upheaval. I don't want you to do something you'll regret." Aurora pulls back to look at him. "Jameson Baker, I've made a lot of questionable decisions in my life. This isn't one of them. I want this. I want you. But if you need to go slow, I understand. I don't want to go slow, he admits. But I want to do this right. Take you on dates. Court you properly. Show you that you matter. I already know I matter to you, Aurora says. You proved that every day this week. The job, the lawyers, visiting your parents. You've shown me more care in 2 weeks than most people show in years. Then let me keep showing you, he says. Starting tomorrow, let me take you on a proper date. Somewhere that isn't takeout on this couch. Okay, Aurora agrees. Where? It's a surprise, he says, kissing her forehead. But dress nice. Not emerald dress nice, but nice. They settle back into the couch, Aurora's head on his chest, his heartbeat steady under her ear. The movie plays on, forgotten. They drift together towards sleep, tangled up in each other, safe and warm and together. Aurora? Jameson whispers. I'm in love with you. The words land like a meteor, obliterating everything else. Aurora lifts her head to look at him, her heart hammering against her ribs. What? I'm in love with you, he repeats, meeting her eyes with unflinching honesty, completely, terrifyingly. Real love, not the shallow thing I felt for Victoria, the kind of love that changes everything. The kind that makes you reevaluate every decision you've ever made because suddenly there's someone who matters more than your plans, or your pride, or your fears. He touches her face, his thumb tracing her cheekbone. And I know it's fast, and I know the timing is terrible, and I know you've been through hell, but I needed you to know, needed to be honest, because you deserve honesty. You've given me nothing but truth, even when it cost you. I owe you the same. Aurora's eyes fill with tears that spill over, tracking down her cheeks. You can't just say that. Why not? Because I'm a mess. Her voice breaks. My life is a disaster. I'm being sued for $3 million. I was homeless 2 weeks ago. I have a brother who needs expensive care. I come with complications and baggage and a scandal that might never die. I have nothing to offer you. You're offering yourself, Jameson says. That's everything. You're brave and brilliant and beautiful, and you make me want to be better. You make me want to be the man I was always supposed to be before bitterness twisted me up. That's worth more than anything I've ever built or bought or achieved. Jameson. Aurora's voice breaks. You don't have to say it back. He rushes to add, I just needed you to know. Needed to be honest. No more games, no more transactions. Just truth. Aurora touches his face, wipes tears from her own. You're impossible. You know that. Impossible and wonderful, and I'm falling for you too. So fast it scares me, so completely it terrifies me. I don't know if it's love yet, but it's heading there at terrifying speed. That's enough, Jameson says, kissing her softly. That's more than enough. They fall asleep on the couch, wrapped around each other, the movie playing to an audience of none. Outside, the city glitters and breathes. Inside, two broken people are becoming whole together, learning that love after loss is possible, that redemption is real, that some people are worth more than they appear, and finding them is worth every risk. The trial date arrives 6 weeks after the wedding scandal. Aurora wakes in her Chelsea apartment, secure building with a doorman. She's lived here 3 weeks, though she spends most evenings at Jameson's penthouse. Today, she faces Victoria in court. Her phone buzzes. Jameson, I'm outside, ready when you are. Aurora looks at herself in the mirror, navy suit, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. She looks professional, composed, nothing like the terrified woman who slept on park benches. She grabs the folder with her evidence and heads downstairs. Jameson waits by his car, looking devastating in a charcoal suit. When he sees her, his expression softens. You look perfect, he says, pulling her into a hug. "How are you feeling?" "Terrified," Aurora admits against his shoulder. "What if we lose?" "We won't." "But if we do," Jameson pulls back to look at her. "Then we appeal, and we keep fighting until we win. Together, remember." "Together," Aurora repeats, drawing strength from the word. The courthouse is surrounded by reporters and cameras. The scandal has kept the public fascinated for weeks. Today's trial is the culmination everyone's been waiting for. Aurora walks through the gauntlet with Jameson's hand on her back, Rachel and David flanking them. Cameras flash, questions shouted. She keeps her head up, her expression neutral. Inside, the courtroom fills with spectators, society watchers, legal analysts, people following the scandal from the beginning. Aurora spots Benjamin Hartwell in the back, his presence surprising. He nods to her, steadying her nerves. Victoria arrives with an entourage of lawyers, dressed in elegant cream, playing victim perfectly. Her eyes meet Aurora's across the courtroom. Victoria knows exactly what she's doing. The judge enters. Everyone rises. The trial begins. Opening statements paint two different pictures. Victoria's lawyer presents Aurora as obsessed, vindictive, with a grudge. A homeless lawyer who fabricated evidence to destroy her former boss. Someone who conspired with Victoria's ex to humiliate her publicly. Rachel's opening counters with truth. Aurora discovered illegal documentation during employment, tried to handle it privately, was threatened into silence, had a legal duty to prevent criminal marriage, sacrificed her safety to do right. The jury watches both presentations with careful neutrality. Victoria takes the stand first, and Aurora watches a masterclass in manipulation. Jameson watches from the gallery, his hands clenched into fists. He knows Victoria's tricks, her calculated tears, her perfectly timed emotional moments. He spent a year dating her, watching her perform for donors and investors and board members. But the jury doesn't know. They see a devastated woman bravely telling her truth. Victoria's testimony is composed, emotional in exactly the right places. She describes her shock at the wedding, her devastation at discovering the truth about her parentage, the humiliation of learning it in front of 300 guests with cameras recording. "I had no idea about my biological father," Victoria says, her voice trembling. "The adoption records were sealed. I grew up believing the Sterlings were my only family. To discover the truth that way, in front of everyone I know, cameras recording every moment, it was the worst experience of my life." She dabs at her eyes with a tissue. The jury looks sympathetic. Victoria's lawyer guides her through questions. "And Miss Allen, you knew her?" "She worked at my firm briefly," Victoria says. "Morrison and Bates. She was a junior associate who couldn't handle the pressure. When we had to let her go for performance issues, she became hostile, threatened me, said I'd regret it." Aurora's hands clench under the table. Rachel touches her arm, a silent reminder to stay calm. "Did Miss Allen ever attempt to contact you about these alleged adoption records?" the lawyer asks. "Never," Victoria lies with smooth precision. "The first I heard of any of this was when she stood up at my wedding and destroyed my life." The cross-examination is brutal. Rachel presses Victoria on the timeline, on Aurora's firing, on the fraud case. But Victoria deflects every question with practiced ease. She's been preparing for this, Aurora realizes. Every answer rehearsed, every emotion calculated. Jameson testifies next, explaining how he met Aurora, why he brought her to the wedding. He's honest about the revenge motivation, which Victoria's lawyer seizes on. "So you hired Miss Allen specifically to humiliate my client?" "I hired her to be my date," Jameson corrects. "I didn't know she had separate reasons for attending, but you facilitated her access to the wedding. Without your invitation, she couldn't have disrupted the ceremony. Without my invitation, she would have found another way." Jameson says firmly, because she had a legal duty to prevent an illegal marriage. I'm proud that I could help her do the right thing, even if I didn't know that's what was happening at the time. Aurora loves him fiercely in that moment for standing up for her, for not backing down under pressure. The trial continues for 3 days. Witnesses. Experts. The Hartwell family attorney confirming the document's authenticity. Benjamin testifying about the DNA test results that confirmed the adoption records were accurate. Then Victoria's team produces their surprise. A forensic document examiner named Dr. Richard Chen takes the stand. He's impressive, with credentials from Harvard and 20 years of experience. He testifies that Aurora's sealed court documents show irregularities suggesting possible unauthorized access or tampering. The testimony is highly technical, full of jargon about paper fibers and ink analysis and security features. To the jury, it sounds credible, damning. Aurora watches her case crumble in real time, piece by piece. "That's a lie," she whispers to Rachel. "Those documents are authentic certified copies. I obtained them legally through my employment." "I know," Rachel whispers back. "He's been paid to say this, but proving that will take time we don't have in this trial." During the recess, Marcus works frantically outside the courtroom. He hires an independent forensic expert and gets testimony from the family court clerk who handled the original adoption records. Both confirm Aurora's documents are completely authentic, but the legal filing deadlines are tight. Getting the new evidence admitted requires emergency motions and judicial approval. The judge grants a 1-day extension, but warns it's all they'll get. That night, Aurora and Jameson sit in his penthouse, both exhausted. "We're losing," Aurora says, staring at the city lights. "The jury believes Victoria. They think I fabricated everything. We have new evidence." The independent expert, the court clerk, which we can barely present because of procedural rules, Aurora interrupts. "Jameson, I appreciate what you're doing, what Marcus is doing, but Victoria is winning. She always wins." "Not this time." "Yes, this time," Aurora insists. "Look at the jury's faces. They've already decided I'm guilty. The new evidence might introduce doubt, but it won't be enough. Not after that forensic examiner's testimony." Jameson moves to sit beside her, takes her hand. "Then we appeal. We keep fighting." "I'm tired of fighting," Aurora admits, her voice breaking. "I'm tired of losing everything for the truth. My job, my home, my reputation. I thought doing the right thing mattered. But all it's done is destroy me. You saved Benjamin from committing a crime by humiliating him in front of hundreds of people," Aurora says bitterly. "Some salvation." "Aurora, I think you should distance yourself from me," she says quietly. "This trial, my reputation, it's damaging your company. You should fire me, break ties, save Baker Technologies." Jameson's expression hardens. "Absolutely not. Be practical." "I am being practical," he insists. "You're the best thing that's happened to me, to my company, to my life. I'm not walking away." "This isn't a game," Aurora says, pulling her hand from his. "This is my life. And I'm dragging you down with me. Then we'll go down together." "That's not romantic, that's stupid," Aurora snaps, standing. "You've worked for years to build your company. I won't let you lose it because of me. You don't get to make that choice." "Yes, I do," Aurora says, grabbing her coat. "I need some space. I need to think." "Aurora, don't leave like this." "I'm not leaving," she says, but they both know it's a lie. "I just need tonight to be alone." To process this, she walks out before he can argue, takes a taxi back to her apartment, sits in the dark and cries for everything she's lost and everything she's about to lose. The trial resumes with Rachel presenting their new evidence. The independent forensic expert testifies that Aurora's documents are authentic. The court clerk confirms proper access during Aurora's employment. Everything supports Aurora's version of events. But Victoria's lawyer argues this doesn't prove Aurora's original evidence wasn't tampered with, just that the conclusion happened to be correct. It's a confusing legal technicality that makes the jury uncertain about the difference between truth and procedural proof. Aurora takes the stand for her own testimony. Rachel guides her through the story. How she discovered the records, how she tried to contact Victoria privately, how Victoria's lawyers threatened her, how she had no choice but to expose the truth publicly. Victoria's lawyer shreds her on cross-examination. "Isn't it true you were fired for incompetence?" "I was fired for refusing to falsify documents. That's your claim." "But you have no proof of that, do you?" "Victoria knows the truth." "Answer the question. Do you have documentation of this alleged order to falsify documents?" "No, but..." "And isn't it true you were homeless when you met Mr. Baker?" "Yes." "Desperate for money?" "Yes." "So when Mr. Baker offered you $20,000 to attend his ex-girlfriend's wedding, you saw an opportunity for revenge against the woman who fired you?" "That's not what happened. You fabricated evidence, crashed a wedding, and humiliated two innocent people for money and revenge. Isn't that the truth?" "No," Aurora says, but her voice wavers. "I stopped an illegal marriage. That's all I did. I stopped a crime." But the damage is done. The jury sees a homeless woman with nothing to lose, someone with motive and opportunity to lie. The closing arguments happen on Friday afternoon. Both sides make their best case. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. When they return, Aurora knows the verdict before it's read. She can see it in their faces. The jury finds Aurora not guilty of conspiracy, but guilty of defamation. They award Victoria $1 million in damages. The courtroom erupts. Reporters scrambling for their phones. Victoria smiling triumphantly. Benjamin looking devastated in the back. Jameson furious in the front row. Aurora sits frozen, the number echoing in her head. $1 million. She doesn't have $1,000 in savings. Doesn't have $100 some weeks. This is financial ruin, complete destruction. Everything she feared, everything she tried to prevent by pushing Jameson away. She was right to end things. This proves it. She's toxic, destructive, a liability to everyone she touches. The thought should bring relief. Instead, it brings only emptiness. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. Aurora pushes through them. Rachel and David trying to shield her. Jameson reaches for her, but she pulls away. "I need to be alone," she says. "Aurora, we'll appeal. This isn't over." "It is over," she says, looking at him with empty eyes. "I lost. Victoria won. And I'm done fighting." She walks away into the crowd, leaving Jameson standing on the courthouse steps, calling her name. Aurora doesn't answer her phone for 3 days. She stays in her apartment, curtains closed, phone silenced. The verdict is everywhere. Social media tears her apart. Half call her a hero who did the right thing, half call her a vindictive liar who got what she deserved. None of it matters. She's been convicted of defamation for telling the truth. On the 4th day, Jameson shows up at her door with Marcus. "We're worried," Marcus says when Aurora finally answers. "You haven't returned calls, messages, nothing." "I needed time to think," Aurora says, not inviting them in. "Think about what?" Jameson asks. "About what I'm going to do. I can't pay the damages. I'll have to declare bankruptcy, and I'm going to resign from Baker Technologies." "No," Jameson says flatly. "Yes, I'm a liability now. A convicted defamer. You can't employ someone with that verdict." "I don't care about the verdict." "Well, you should," Aurora says, her voice rising. "You should care about your company, your reputation, your investors. I've brought nothing but chaos into your life. It needs to stop." "Aurora." "I'm serious, Jameson. I'm resigning, and I think we should stop seeing each other." The words land like a bomb. Jameson stares at her, disbelief and pain warring on his face. Marcus steps back, giving them space, but doesn't leave. He's there if Jameson needs him. "You don't mean that." "I do," Aurora says, forcing the words out past the ache in her chest. "This isn't working. We rushed into this. You were trying to save me, and I let you because I was desperate. But we're not good for each other, not really." "That's a lie," Jameson says, his voice raw. "You're scared, so you're pushing me away. I know you, Aurora. I know when you're running. I'm being practical," Aurora insists, wrapping her arms around herself. "You need to move on. Find someone who doesn't come with $1 million judgment and a career-ending verdict. Someone who won't destroy everything you've built." "Stop it," Jameson says, moving closer. "Stop trying to make this decision for me. I'm an adult. I can choose who I love and who I fight for." "Not when I'm the one hurting you," Aurora says, backing away. "Not when staying with me costs you everything that matters. You're what matters," he says desperately. "You're the only thing that matters. The company, the money, all of it means nothing if you're not there." Aurora closes her eyes, tears streaming. "You'll realize that's not true. In a month, maybe 2, you'll wake up and be grateful I did this. You'll meet someone appropriate, someone who fits your world, and you'll thank me for letting you go." "Someone has to," Aurora says, tears streaming down her face, "because you're too loyal to see that I'm drowning you with me." "Then let me drown," he says desperately. "Let me fight with you. Please, Aurora, don't shut me out." "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'm so sorry, but this is over." She closes the door in his face, leans against it as he pounds on the other side, calling her name. Marcus's voice joining his, both pleading with her to open up. She doesn't. She slides down to sit on the floor, her back against the door, crying as the 2 people who believed in her most finally give up and leave. That night, Aurora packs a bag. Not much. Just essentials. She's not sure where she's going, but she knows she can't stay here, can't keep taking Jameson's help, his money, his love, not when all she brings him is destruction. Her phone rings one more time. Jameson, of course. She almost answers. Almost tells him she didn't mean it, that she's terrified and pushing him away because she loves him too much to watch herself destroy him. Instead, she turns off her phone, picks up her bag, and walks out of the apartment. The city is cold and dark. November has arrived with winter's promise. Aurora walks without direction, without plan, without hope. She did the right thing at that wedding. Stopped a crime. Chose truth. And truth has left her with nothing. Alone again, broken again, starting over again. "Some people are worth more than they appear," Jameson told her once. But right now, Aurora feels worthless and completely, devastatingly alone. Jameson doesn't accept the breakup. For 2 weeks, he calls, texts, shows up at her apartment. She doesn't answer, doesn't respond, disappears into silence. Marcus finds him in his office at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, staring at case files and investigative reports. "You need to sleep," Marcus says. "I need to find proof," Jameson corrects, not looking up. "Victoria's forensic expert was lying. I know it. I just need to prove it." "Jameson, the trial is over. Aurora resigned. She's gone." "She's not gone. She's hiding. There's a difference." Marcus sits across from him, expression serious. "What are you doing? Really?" "What I should have done from the beginning," Jameson says. "Fighting for truth instead of revenge. Aurora showed me what matters. Now I'm going to show her the same thing, by obsessively investigating a closed case. By not giving up on her," Jameson says, meeting his friend's eyes. "She gave up everything for truth. I can at least give her vindication." Marcus studies him for a long moment, then sighs. "What do you need?" The breakthrough comes 3 days later. A woman named Jennifer Park contacts Marcus through a mutual connection. She worked as Victoria Sterling's executive assistant at Morrison and Bates until Victoria fired her 2 months ago. Jennifer has evidence, emails, payment records, recorded conversations, proof that Victoria paid Dr. Richard Chen, the forensic document examiner, $50,000 to provide false testimony, proof that Victoria ordered her legal team to intimidate witnesses, proof of multiple counts of fraud and perjury. Everything they need to destroy Victoria's case and vindicate Aurora. Jameson sits in the conference room, reading through Jennifer's evidence with Rachel and David, his hands shaking with anger and hope. "Why didn't she come forward during the trial?" he asks. "Victoria threatened her family," Jennifer explains via video call. "Said if I testified against her, she'd destroy my parents' business. But then she fired me anyway, said I knew too much. So now I have nothing to lose and everything to gain by telling the truth. This is ironclad," Rachel says, examining the documents. Recorded conversations, wire transfers, email chains discussing the payment. "Victoria's going to prison for this." "I don't care about Victoria," Jameson says. "I care about Aurora. How fast can we get this to the media?" "We should file motions first," David advises. "Get the verdict overturned through proper channels." "And that takes months," Jameson says. "Aurora needs vindication now. Today, she needs to know the truth won." "Then we do both," Marcus suggests. "File the legal motions and hold a press conference. Hit Victoria from both sides." Jameson looks at Rachel. "Can we do that?" "Yes," she says, "but it'll create a media storm. Everyone involved will be under intense scrutiny." "Good," Jameson says. "Let them scrutinize. Let them see who was telling the truth all along." The press conference happens 48 hours later. Jameson stands at a podium in a hotel conference room, flanked by Rachel, David, Marcus, Benjamin Hartwell, and Jennifer Park. Cameras from every major news outlet, reporters packed wall to wall. Aurora's not there. She doesn't know this is happening. Jameson tried to reach her, but she's still not answering, so he'll do this without her. For her. "Thank you for coming," Jameson begins, his voice steady and clear. "I'm here today to present evidence that will prove Aurora Allen was wrongfully convicted of defamation. Evidence that shows Victoria Sterling committed perjury, witness tampering, and fraud during the trial. His heart pounds, but his hands don't shake. He's done high-stakes presentations to investors, to board members, to shareholders, but none of those mattered like this. This is for Aurora. Everything he's built, every skill he's learned, every resource he has, all of it focused on this single moment." He nods to the screens behind him, where Jennifer's evidence displays for everyone to see. Jennifer Park worked as Victoria Sterling's executive assistant for 3 years. She has provided documented proof that Ms. Sterling paid Dr. Richard Chen $50,000 to give false testimony during the trial. This includes wire transfers, email communications, and recorded phone conversations. The room erupts with shocked murmurs. Cameras flash, reporters type frantically. Jameson continues, unwavering. "Additionally, we have evidence that Ms. Sterling ordered her legal team to intimidate multiple witnesses, threatened Ms. Park's family to prevent testimony, and engaged in systematic fraud at Morrison and Bates law firm. Evidence that corroborates everything Aurora Allen claimed from the beginning." Rachel steps forward, takes the microphone. "We're filing emergency motions to overturn the verdict and requesting criminal charges against Victoria Sterling for perjury and witness tampering. The evidence is conclusive and overwhelming." Benjamin Hartwell approaches the microphone next, his presence adding weight. "I want to add my voice to this. Aurora Allen stopped my wedding because she had a legal duty to prevent an illegal marriage. After the ceremony was halted, I commissioned independent DNA testing that confirmed every single thing she said. She was right. Victoria was wrong, and Victoria knew she was wrong, which is why she went to such lengths to destroy Aurora's credibility. Jennifer Park speaks last, her voice shaking but determined. I've worked for powerful people who abuse their positions. Victoria Sterling is the worst I've encountered. She destroys anyone who stands up to her. Aurora Allen stood up to her and paid the price, but the truth matters more than fear. I'm here to tell the truth. The questions from reporters come rapid fire. Jameson answers each one with precision, with evidence, with unwavering certainty. This is for Aurora. All of this is for Aurora. Aurora watches the press conference from a hotel room in New Jersey. She's been staying here since leaving her apartment, working odd jobs for cash, trying to figure out her next move, trying not to think about Jameson, about what she threw away, about the gaping hole in her chest where her heart used to be. She turned on the TV to check the weather and saw the breaking news alert. Now she stands frozen, watching Jameson dismantle Victoria's lies with systematic precision. He found proof. He brought witnesses. He's clearing her name in front of the entire world, and he's doing it alone, without her there, without her help, because she pushed him away and he loved her enough to keep fighting anyway. Tears stream down her face as she watches him speak, his voice strong and certain, defending her when she's not even there to defend herself. This is what love looks like, she realizes. Not grand gestures or perfect moments, but someone fighting for you even when you tell them not to. Someone believing in you when you've stopped believing in yourself. Why are you doing this? A reporter asks him. Why invest so much time and money into overturning a verdict that doesn't directly affect you? Jameson looks directly at the camera. Because Aurora Allen is the bravest person I've ever met. She sacrificed everything for truth. The least I can do is fight for that truth when she's too exhausted to fight anymore. She stood alone at that wedding. She doesn't have to stand alone in the aftermath. Aurora's legs give out. She sits on the hotel bed, watching through blurred vision as the man she loves champions her cause on national television. She pushed him away, told him they were over, shut him out completely, and he's still fighting for her. The media reaction is immediate and explosive. Within an hour, Justice for Aurora trends #1. The evidence spreads across every platform. Legal analysts declare the verdict will almost certainly be overturned. Victoria Sterling's arrest warrant is issued for perjury. Aurora's phone, which she finally turned back on, explodes with messages. From former law school classmates apologizing for believing Victoria. From Morrison and Bates, associates confirming they witnessed her ethical refusal. From strangers thanking her for her courage. From Dylan's care facility saying his bills have been paid in full for the next 2 years. And from Jameson, one simple message. I love you. Come home. Aurora stares at the words for a long time. Then she packs her bag, checks out of the hotel, and takes a train back to Manhattan. She finds him where she knew she would, Central Park, the bench where they first met. It's late evening, the park nearly empty. But Jameson sits there waiting like he's been waiting for days. Maybe he has been. Aurora approaches with slow, measured steps, her heart in her throat. He looks up, sees her, and his expression transforms with relief and hope and something deeper than words. Hi, she says, stopping a few feet away. Hi, he replies. They stare at each other across the distance Aurora created. I watched the press conference, she says finally. I hoped you would. Why did you do it? After I pushed you away, after I told you we were over, why did you keep fighting? Jameson stands, closes the distance between them. Because you were wrong. We're not over. We'll never be over. I'm in love with you, Aurora Allen. That doesn't stop because you're scared or because things get hard. Love means fighting for someone even when they try to protect you by pushing you away. I was trying to save you, Aurora says, tears falling. And from me, from my mess, from everything. I don't want to be saved from you, he says, cupping her face in his hands, wiping tears with his thumbs. I want to be with you, through mess, through chaos, through everything. That's what love is. Jameson. I know you're scared. I know you lost everything before and you're terrified of losing everything again. But Aurora, you're not going to lose me. I'm here. I'm staying. I choose you. Every single day I choose you. Aurora breaks, throwing her arms around him, burying her face in his chest. He holds her tight, one hand in her hair, the other around her waist, both of them shaking with emotion. I'm sorry, she sobs against his shirt. I'm so sorry. I was scared, and I pushed you away and I hurt you. I know. I forgive you. Come home. Please come home. I love you, Aurora says, pulling back to look at him. I love you so much it terrifies me. I didn't know how to handle it, so I ran, but I don't want to run anymore. Then don't, he says with quiet conviction. Stay, fight with me, build a life with me. He kisses her, soft and deep and full of promise. Aurora melts into it, into him, into the possibility of a future that doesn't involve running or hiding or fighting alone. The kiss tastes like redemption, like second chances, like everything they almost lost. When they separate, Jameson reaches into his pocket, his hand trembling slightly. I bought this 3 weeks ago, he says, pulling out a small velvet box, right after you resigned. I was going to wait for the perfect moment, but I've learned perfect moments don't exist. There's only now. And right now, on this bench where we first met, I want to ask you something. Aurora's breath catches as he opens the box. Inside is a simple, elegant diamond ring. Not ostentatious, not a statement of wealth, just beautiful in its honesty, like everything between them has become. Aurora Allen, Jameson says, and his voice shakes with emotion. You changed my life the night I found you on this bench. You showed me what integrity looks like, what courage looks like, what love looks like. You made me want to be better, do better, be the man I was always supposed to be before bitterness twisted me up. He takes her hand, the ring ready. I know we started with lies and revenge and transactions, but somewhere in all that chaos, we found something real, something worth fighting for, something worth everything. Aurora's crying too hard to speak, but she nods. Will you marry me? Jameson asks. Will you build a life with me? Will you be my partner, my conscience, my home? Will you let me love you the way you deserve to be loved? Yes. Aurora manages through tears. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. He slides the ring on her finger, and it fits perfectly. Then he stands, pulling her into his arms, spinning her around, while she laughs and cries and holds on tight. Around them, a few park-goers who witness the proposal applaud. Someone whistles. Aurora doesn't care. She kisses Jameson again, tasting tears and laughter and happiness so acute it hurts. Some people are worth more than they appear, Jameson whispers against her lips. You taught me that, Aurora whispers back, about myself, about you, about us. They sit on the bench together, Aurora's head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist, her left hand sparkling with new promise. We should get a plaque, Aurora says. What? For the bench. Something about new beginnings, about finding love in unexpected places. I like that, Jameson says. What should it say? Aurora thinks for a moment. Some people are worth more than they appear, and sometimes love finds you when you least expect it. Perfect, he says, kissing the top of her head. Just like you. The wedding happens 3 months later, small, intimate, nothing like Victoria's doomed spectacle, a garden venue in upstate New York, 50 guests, spring flowers and string lights and everything soft and beautiful. Aurora wears a simple white dress, elegant without being excessive. Her mother walks her down the aisle, crying with happiness. Dylan stands with them as ring-bearer, beaming with joy. Jameson waits at the altar with Marcus as best man, his parents in the front row, both crying. When Aurora appears, his face transforms with awe. The ceremony is short, personal. The officiant speaks about love found in chaos, about courage and truth and partnership. Then the vows. "Jameson Baker," Aurora says, her voice steady despite emotion, "you found me when I was lost. Not just physically on that park bench, but emotionally, spiritually. I had given up on people, on systems, on justice. You showed me that one person can make a difference, that love isn't weakness, that fighting for truth is worth it when you have someone fighting beside you. I promise to be your partner, your conscience, your home. I promise to always tell you the truth, even when it's hard. I promise to love you not despite your past, but because of how you've grown from it. Some people are worth more than they appear. You taught me that about myself. Now I see it in you every day." Jameson's eyes are wet. He takes her hands, speaks his truth. Aurora Allen, his voice rough with emotion, soon to be Aurora Baker. "You destroyed my plans and rebuilt my life. I thought I knew what I wanted. Success, validation, revenge. You showed me what I needed. Purpose, authenticity, love. You stood alone in a room full of hostile people and told the truth anyway. That's who you are. Unbreakable, unbuyable, unbelievably brave. I promise to be worthy of that bravery. I promise to stand with you, not above you or below you, but beside you. I promise to value truth over comfort, justice over convenience, and you over everything else. You are worth more than anything I could ever earn or build or buy. You're priceless, and you're mine, and I'm forever yours." The officiant smiles through tears. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Jameson kisses Aurora, deep and meaningful, while everyone cheers. Dylan jumps excitedly. Patricia and Trish embrace. Marcus whistles. Thomas grins with paternal pride. Perfect happiness, Aurora thinks. This is what it feels like. The reception is dinner under string lights, speeches from loved ones. Marcus roasts Jameson lovingly about his transformation from bitter workaholic to man in love. Trish thanks Jameson for seeing Aurora's worth. Patricia welcomes Aurora as the daughter she always wanted. Benjamin surprises everyone by attending, bringing flowers and congratulations. "You saved my life," he tells Aurora. "Thank you for your courage." Margaret Hartwell sends a gift and a note apologizing for her initial hostility, pledging support for Aurora's new legal practice focused on ethics and whistleblower protection. There's no mention of Victoria. She's facing multiple criminal charges, her law license suspended, her reputation destroyed. The story has a villain's ending. Aurora feels no satisfaction in it, just sadness for wasted potential. But that's not tonight's focus. Tonight is celebration. Aurora and Jameson dance to slow music, surrounded by everyone who matters. Dylan dances nearby with his caretaker, joy radiating from every movement. "Mrs. Baker," Jameson whispers in Aurora's ear. "How does it feel?" "Like home," Aurora whispers back. "Like truth, like everything. That's exactly what you are to me." They kiss while dancing, their family watching with happiness, their future bright and certain. Later, as the evening ends and guests depart with hugs and promises, Aurora and Jameson stand alone in the garden. "We did it," Aurora says. "We actually did it." "We did," Jameson agrees. "Built something real from chaos and revenge and impossible odds. Think we can keep doing it?" Aurora asks. "Building, growing, facing whatever comes. Together." Jameson pulls her close. "Absolutely. You and me against whatever comes. That's all I need." Aurora looks at the stars above, the string lights glowing, her husband's arms around her, and feels complete. The park bench led her here, to this man, this life, this happiness. Some people are worth more than they appear. And sometimes, when you choose truth over comfort, when you stand up even when you're alone, when you refuse to compromise your integrity, the universe rewards you. Not with perfection, but with something better. Real love, real partnership, real life, and that's worth everything. 18 months after the wedding, Aurora wakes in the brownstone she and Jameson renovated together. Sunlight streams through windows, Jameson's arm across her waist, Dylan's latest drawing framed on the bedside table, birds carrying flowers with two people holding hands beneath. This is home, this is happiness, this is everything she almost lost. "Morning, Mrs. Baker," Jameson murmurs against her neck. "Morning, Mr. Baker," she replies, turning to face him. "Ready for another day of changing the world. With you, always." They kiss, slow and sweet, taking their time because they can, because they have time, because they built a life that allows for mornings like this. Aurora's legal practice, Allen Justice Advocates, occupies a modest office in downtown Manhattan. 3 associates work with her now, specializing in whistleblower protection and corporate ethics cases. They're not getting rich, but they're making a difference. This morning, a former pharmaceutical researcher sits across from Aurora's desk, trembling as she explains how her company falsified drug trial data. "They'll destroy me if I come forward," the woman says, "just like they destroyed the last person who tried." "They'll try," Aurora agrees. "But we've fought these battles before. You won't face this alone. We have resources, legal protection, media contacts. And most importantly, we have the truth. Truth didn't save you," the woman points out. "I followed your case. You were convicted and then vindicated," Aurora reminds her, her voice firm with conviction. "Because we kept fighting. Because good people refused to give up. That's what we do here. We fight until the truth wins." The woman looks at Aurora's law degree on the wall, the news clippings about her victory over Victoria, the photos of her with Jameson and Dylan. "Okay," she says with decision. "I'm in. Let's fight." Jameson stands in Baker Technologies' conference room, presenting the quarterly ethics report to his board. 5 years ago, this would have been all about profit margins and market share. Now it's about values and integrity. The change still surprises him sometimes, how much Aurora transformed his priorities without him even noticing the shift. The company has transformed under his renewed leadership. They refuse contracts with questionable clients even when profitable. They've implemented industry-leading ethics standards, hired a diverse team focused on responsible technology. Profitability dipped initially, then soared as clients realized Baker Technologies' reputation for integrity was worth premium pricing. "Our ethical stance has become our competitive advantage," Jameson explains. "Companies want to work with firms they can trust. We've built that trust by valuing principles over short-term profit." One board member raises a hand. "What about the Morrison and Bates situation? Are we pursuing legal action?" "No," Jameson says. "Victoria Sterling is serving her sentence. The firm has been restructured under new leadership committed to reform. Our focus is forward, not backward. We're building something better, not tearing down what's broken." After the meeting, Marcus finds Jameson in his office. "You've changed," Marcus observes. 5 years ago, you would have crushed Morrison and Bates just because you could. 5 years ago, I was focused on revenge," Jameson says. "Aurora taught me that building something positive matters more than destroying something negative." "She's good for you. She's everything for me," Jameson corrects. "Everything that matters." Saturday, Aurora and Jameson visit Dylan at his care facility. The upgraded apartment-style residence they fund provides him independence while ensuring proper support. Dylan's room overflows with art supplies. Paintings cover every wall. He's even started selling pieces through a local gallery, his unique perspective celebrated rather than dismissed. When they arrive, Dylan's working on a new piece. Two birds flying together, intertwined, surrounded by flowers and light. "Is that us?" Aurora asks. Dylan nods, pointing to details. The birds have different colors but fly in perfect synchronization. Flowers bloom beneath them, everything bright and hopeful. "It's beautiful," Jameson says. "Your best work yet." Dylan types on his communication device. "You helped me fly too, both of you." Aurora hugs her brother tight, emotional as always when he expresses himself. Jameson watches them, his heart full. This is his family now. Aurora, Dylan, their parents, Marcus, everyone who matters. Dylan pulls back, studies Aurora's face with concern, then types, "Are you sick? You look different." Aurora and Jameson exchange glances. They weren't planning to share the news yet, wanting to wait until the second trimester, but Dylan sees everything, always has. "I'm not sick," Aurora says, her voice catching with emotion. "I'm pregnant. We're having a baby." Dylan's face transforms with pure joy. His hands fly to his mouth. Then he jumps up, hugs Aurora with careful gentleness, then Jameson with enthusiastic force. He types frantically, his fingers shaking. "I'm going to be an uncle. I'm going to be an uncle. When, boy or girl, can I paint the nursery?" His excitement is contagious. They laugh, crying happy tears as Dylan fires question after question through his device. The program Aurora and Jameson co-founded, Second Chances Legal Aid, hosts its first anniversary celebration. They've helped 73 people restart their careers after whistleblowing or ethical stands cost them employment. Success stories fill the room. A former accountant now working in government oversight. An ex-nurse who exposed patient safety violations, now teaching healthcare ethics. A journalist who broke corruption stories, now running an investigative nonprofit. And others still fighting, still struggling, still needing support. Aurora addresses the crowd, Jameson beside her. "A year ago, we started this program because we knew what it felt like to lose everything for truth, to be destroyed for doing right. We wanted to make sure no one had to face that destruction alone." She gestures to the people in the room. "You are proof that integrity matters, that courage counts, that standing up for what's right, even when it costs everything, is worth it. Because truth creates ripples. Your truth stopped harm, prevented crimes, saved lives. That matters more than comfort or security or easy paths." Jameson takes the microphone. My wife likes to quote this phrase, "Some people are worth more than they appear." Every person in this room is proof of that. You're worth more than your job titles, your bank accounts, your social status. You're worth more because you chose truth over convenience. That's real wealth. That's real success. The crowd applauds. People cry. Aurora and Jameson accept hugs and thanks and stories of transformation. This is their legacy. Not money or companies or status, but people helped, lives changed, truth upheld. That night, at their brownstone, they host family dinner. Patricia and Thomas Baker, Trish Allen, Marcus and his partner Kevin, Dylan with his caretaker. Everyone gathered around a table groaning with food. "So when were you planning to tell us?" Trish demands, smiling through tears. Dylan spilled the beans. "We're going to be grandparents," Aurora laughs. "We were going to tell you today. Dylan just beat us to it." Patricia jumps up, hugging Aurora. "Oh, honey, this is wonderful. When are you due?" 6 months, Aurora says. "Early June. We just found out last week." The celebration is chaotic and perfect. Thomas calculating how to build baby furniture. Trish planning nursery colors. Marcus already planning the world's most embarrassing baby shower. Dylan showing everyone his sketches for the baby's room. Later, after everyone leaves, Aurora and Jameson sit on their back deck, looking at the small garden they planted together. Scared? Jameson asks. Terrified, Aurora admits. We're bringing a child into this complicated world. What if we mess it up? We'll mess some of it up, Jameson says. Everyone does. But we'll love them fiercely, teach them truth matters, show them integrity is worth fighting for, raise them to value people over profit, courage over comfort. Like your parents raised you, Aurora says. Like your mother raised you, Jameson counters. We'll combine the best of both and hope that's enough. Aurora leans against him. Do you ever think about that park bench? How random it all was. Nothing about us was random, Jameson says. Maybe I was meant to walk past that bench. Maybe you were meant to be there. Maybe everything that happened, even the terrible parts, led us exactly where we needed to be. You really believe that? I believe some people are worth more than they appear. I believe truth matters more than comfort. I believe love can grow from the strangest circumstances. And I believe we were meant to find each other. Me too, Aurora whispers. They sit in comfortable silence, planning the future, grateful for the present, at peace with the past. 6 months pass in a beautiful blur. Aurora's belly grows. The nursery comes together with help from both families. They paint it soft yellow with hand-painted birds on the walls. Dylan's contribution making everything special. Aurora scales back work, training her associates to handle cases independently. Jameson rearranges his schedule to be more present, delegating responsibilities to Marcus and other trusted team members. They attend birthing classes together, Jameson nervous and attentive. Take walks every evening, talking about names and hopes and dreams for their child. One night in early June, Aurora's water breaks. The rush to the hospital is chaotic and perfect and terrifying. Jameson stays beside her through all of it, holding her hand, breathing with her, whispering encouragement and love. 14 hours later, their daughter arrives, small and perfect and screaming with vigorous health. Grace Patricia Baker, Aurora says, crying as the nurse places the baby on her chest. Named after the women who taught us about strength. Jameson touches his daughter's tiny hand, overwhelmed. She's perfect. You're perfect. Everything is perfect. Nothing is perfect, Aurora corrects, smiling through tears. But this is real. And that's better. 3 months later, they host a small gathering at their brownstone. Grace sleeps peacefully in Aurora's arms. Dylan sits beside them, enchanted by his niece, drawing her constantly. Trish and Patricia fuss over the baby. Thomas and Marcus discuss business over beer. Kevin photographs everything, documenting this moment of complete happiness. Jameson stands slightly apart, watching his family, his chosen family, everyone he loves in one room. Aurora catches his eye, smiles, gestures him over. He sits beside her, arm around her shoulders, looking down at their daughter. What are you thinking? Aurora asks. That I spent 5 years chasing the wrong things. Success, validation, revenge. All of it meaningless compared to this. This is messy, Aurora points out. Grace just spit up on her shoulder. And exhausting. And sometimes overwhelming. This is real, Jameson says. And that's what matters. Real love, real family, real life. Not the performance version, the authentic version. Grace yawns, tiny and perfect. Dylan reaches over to touch her hand gently. She's lucky to have you both, Trish says, watching them. You'll teach her good things, true things. We'll try, Aurora says. Teach her that some people are worth more than they appear. that truth matters even when it costs everything, that integrity isn't negotiable, that love is possible after loss. Jameson adds that redemption is real, that you can start over at any age, from any place, even a park bench. Aurora looks at him, love shining in her eyes. Should we take her there, to the bench, show her where it all started? When she's older, Jameson says, when she can understand the story. About the homeless lawyer and the bitter millionaire who found each other in the darkest moment and built something beautiful from chaos. That's a good story, Marcus says from across the room. You should write it down, for her. Maybe we will, Aurora says. Maybe we'll tell her that fairy tales aren't about perfection. They're about truth, about people who choose right over easy, about love that grows in unexpected places. Dylan types on his device, all the best things grow in unexpected places, like flowers in concrete. Exactly, Jameson says, ruffling Dylan's hair. Exactly right. The evening continues with laughter and stories and love. Grace sleeps through it all, surrounded by everyone who will help raise her, teach her, show her what matters. As guests finally depart with hugs and promises to return soon, Aurora and Jameson stand at their door, Grace asleep in Jameson's arms. We did it, Aurora says softly. Built a life from nothing, from a park bench and a bad plan and impossible odds. We're still doing it, Jameson corrects. Every day, building, growing, becoming who we were always meant to be. Together, Aurora says. Always together. Jameson agrees. They close the door on the night, on the guests, on everything outside their small, perfect world. Inside, there's only family, only love, only truth. Grace stirs in Jameson's arms, opens her eyes, looks up at her parents with that unfocused newborn gaze that somehow sees everything that matters. Hi, sweetheart, Aurora whispers. Welcome to our story. It's a good one, full of truth and love and second chances, full of people who are worth more than they appear. Starting with your mom, Jameson says, kissing Aurora's temple. The bravest person I ever met. And your dad, Aurora counters, who learned that love matters more than revenge. They carry Grace to the nursery, lay her in the crib under Dylan's painted birds, watch her sleep, this tiny person who represents their future, their hope, their everything. Outside, the city continues, loud and chaotic and complicated. Inside, there's peace, there's love, there's family. And on a park bench in Central Park, a plaque reads, "Some people are worth more than they appear." Sometimes love finds you when you least expect it. JB and AA. A reminder that endings are really beginnings, that truth wins eventually, that love is worth every risk, and that sometimes the best stories start with the strangest circumstances and the bravest hearts. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories like this. Leave a like and comment below what you thought of the story. See you in the next video.